Welcome back, everyone. This is the Dynasty Racing League. This is DRL TV. My name is Ryan Branch. Tonight I'm bringing you the MOLNAR Automotive Cup Series. I'm trying to get a couple things sorted out here tonight. This is going to be the Darlington 250 at Darlington Raceway in Darlington, South Carolina. Had a bit of an emergency just before this broadcast, so not as prepared as I would have liked to be, but there's going to be 250 miles of extremely exciting action here in Darlington tonight. I can't wait to get this thing started. Looks like Wade Hustad's going to start on the pole for the second night in a row. He did start on the pole last night. The Northeast Ohio Customs Grand National Series. Try to get your volume turned down a little bit here so everybody's not blinded by the iRacing volume. To take the green flag, somebody that are all the way to the inside already. Trying to download some new trading paints here. Things are going to be refreshing in and out for you guys. I want to make sure that all of these awesome paint schemes we have this week are going to get shown here tonight. Everybody running a throwback scheme. This is the throwback race of the season here at Darlington. So all these guys will get to go back and pay homage to, you know, all the guys who awesome racers in the past and used to run here around Darlington that maybe we don't get to see anymore. Some of the paints will be other schemes that we do still get to see here in NASCAR, but other schemes that other guys have ran in the past. You know, maybe a Chase Elliott 24 scheme or something like that you might see here and there. Even though he is still running in NASCAR, he now drives the number 9, so I want to be able to show that to everyone as Trading Paints updates. You will see a car or two turn white here and there. Still trying to get everything up and running as Wade Hustad is already running away with this race. Led, I think, 118 laps last night in the Grand National Series. What an impressive showing by him. Joseph Helt currently runs second, and Chad Presnall there in the 55. That is Wade Hustad's teammate. Those two practice together week in and week out. Hustad comfortably, or Presnall comfortably running in the 3rd position right now. Go back to 12th, and there we see a Jeff Gordon scheme. I love it. The DuPont Chevrolet, that is Mike Springer in the number 12, running that old Jeff Gordon scheme. Back in the day when Gordon came to NASCAR, he started, he was the first guy really to challenge Earnhardt, you know, first young guy to challenge Earnhardt. Jeff Gordon set a lot of records in his younger years, won a lot of championships, and an awesome rivalry between those two extremely respected drivers in NASCAR, so it's fun to see a rivalry where it's a rivalry built on respect, not a rivalry built on, you know, who can take each other out of a race, which is what we see a lot in NASCAR now. You know, you have the likes of Kyle Busch and the number 2 of Brad Keselowski. Those guys just, you know, they race a little too hard sometimes. They don't race hard and clean. They race hard and rough and maybe cause more accidents than necessary. And it does, you know, it makes for a great show for all the viewers, but the rivalries that I like to see are those like Gordon and Earnhardt, for sure. The number 62 there of Anthony Burrows running out front. He's in 5th right now, in front of that little pack there. Just behind him is Thomas Harmon in the 68, and the 38 of Mitchell Briggs. Welcome him back to the DRL. A couple races he's been with us this season. He was here all season last season, and he's just now finding his way back to the Dynasty Racing League, so happy to have him back. You have Eric Johnson in the number 21. He currently sits in 8th position, not running a throwback scheme this week. Number 9th right now, Dustin Musial. And 10th, Eli Hinton there in the number 23. Mild car number. Oh, as we have a car. Looks like somebody's smoking down here. Didn't catch who that was. That's Alexander Russell there in the number 39. He's a rookie here with the Dynasty Racing League. Go back and see if we can see what happened to Alexander Russell. Oh. Looks like he just gets a little bit too close to the wall here. Let's see what happens. Yeah, he just bounces off that wall twice, heads right down to the inside wall, and crunches up the left front fender of that car pretty bad. That's Alexander Russell there in the 39. Does manage to get the car flipped around, does not cause a caution to come out here, so he is down there on pit road now for at least already 20 seconds, so go back out front and show you our leader, Wade Hustad there in the number 32, still running away with this race. He now has almost a 1 second lead on second place of Joseph Helt. Chad Presnall in the 55 there, still nipping at Helt's heels. So whatever the formula is for the racetrack here at Darlington, Wade Hustad's got it figured out, that's for sure. You have to run really close to this outside wall here, but you got to keep from touching it, and that's the difficult part. You're not necessarily racing other cars on the track, as things do tend to string out here at Darlington, but you are racing the track itself, as we see the 62 of Anthony Burrows does get around Mike Springer in the number 12. Got a nice string of cars just behind them, starting with Thomas Harmon and then Mitchell Briggs. Eric Johnson, Dustin Musial there in the number 22. The 23 of Eli Hinton sits 10th. 11th place goes to Chris Stouffer, the white and black car you see there on your screen. And then just behind him in the yellow, got Spencer Tart, followed by John Theodore and Caden Honeycutt in the number 37, who looks like he's already made some moves so far here tonight. Caden Honeycutt charging through this field as he comes around the 89 there of John Theodore. Caden Honeycutt currently runs 13th. He started in the 27th position, so Honeycutt, as per the usual, this happens week in and week out. He starts towards the rear of the field, whether it's because of qualifying or he just shows up later, whatever the case may be, but constantly fighting his way through a pack of cars. And he's going to have to be very careful here at Darlington. Oh, as he bumps the 28 of Spencer Tart and pushes him down off the racing surface. Tart luckily holds on to the vehicle, gets himself back up on the track, but Caden Honeycutt not playing nice in his fight from the rear to the front. We're back up front here as Joseph Helt puts a little bit of a gap here on the 55 of Presnall, so Wade Hustad has it figured out, but Joseph Helt's got it figured out as well. Oh, and our first caution comes out. I'm going to go see if I can see who is moving back in the standings here. Looks like that might be Martin Wenzel falling. Oh, something happened to Mr. Wenzel here. Let's go back and see if we can see what happened to Martin. See Martin here running in the number 76. Not his usual number that he runs in the Truck Series, but that's because he's here in the Cup car, feeling pretty good at Darlington. Gets back into the gas, and it looks like he has to oversteer it just a little bit. Gets up into that wall and clips the front end of the car, practically taking himself out of this race completely. Gets it flipped around, but the caution does still come out as there were vehicles that had to slow down for him up there on the racing surface. So looks like that might be the end of the night for Martin Wenzel. Not 100% sure on that one, but not looking good for Martin at all. We come around and look at the entry to pit road. All these cars are going to drop off the racing surface up there and head down the pit lane. Of course, Wade Hustad still our leader, followed by Joseph Helt and Chad Presnall on their way in. Looks like almost every car on the track is going to try to pit here. Somebody hits the cone there, barely slowing down to get into pit road in time. Go down and see if we can get the exit off of pit road and see how these cars come out. See if Hustad is still able to maintain his lead. We'll see how they get in and out of their boxes here. These first three guys looks like they get in nice and easy. Third place position there. I think, I don't remember who that belonged to. Whoever it was, they'd moved back quite a bit already tonight. Wade Hustad with a 14.68. Joseph Helt barely faster with a 14.49. And the 55 of Presnell, followed by the 62 of Anthony Burrows. I think the 12 of Mike Springer just edged off Thomas Harmon off of pit road, so we'll see how that irons out here in a second. And we're going to go down and see if we can get an interview there with Martin Wenzel, see if he oversteered the car or if it just, I mean, the wall just snuck up and bit him. Maybe he got into the gas a little bit too soon, or try to find out exactly what happened to Martin there. My usual broadcaster, or co-broadcaster, and Martin Wenzel, normally up here in the booth with me, but he did want to race tonight at Darlington, so I agreed to go it alone. Talk to him real quick. Martin Wenzel, you got a copy?
Yeah.
Hey man, I don't know what happened there. You oversteer the car a little bit, or understeer, should I say? You didn't put enough left turn into it until it was too late, or did you just get back in the gas too early?
No, the track is incredibly tight. I don't like how we run on these late afternoons for everything, because this is a track where I'd rather have it be a little bit loose, because it's loose all week because you're running it in the official races in the afternoon. It's a little bit loose, and then you drive it the same way here in the late afternoon, and you just crash into the wall. I drove 500 laps this week in the official races and never hit the wall like that all week, and now I can't drive it straight. So
that's a tough one, man. Unfortunate ending to your evening. Is that it for the night for you, or?
I don't know. I'll see what I have, but probably.
Bust of luck out there. Hopefully you can get her fixed and get a few more laps in, man.
Yep.
Have a good night. That was Martin Wenzel, not satisfied with having to run on this cooler track here tonight. Hopefully, the looseness, like he was saying, when the track's a little bit warmer, the car tends to turn a little bit more. Doesn't feel like a dump truck going up into that corner, and that's what can make Darlington really, really tough. I mean, again, it's the wall that you're steering against. You got to get real close to that wall and just not touch it. And the car plowed on him a little bit there, so unfortunate ending to Martin's race. He will be able to probably get back out there and run a few more laps, but not the finish he was hoping for, I know that. Looks like we're about ready to go back green here. I think I'm going to go down. Race control tonight is Getty Buckner. I think I'm going to go down and try to pull him in here, see if he wants to chat for just a couple minutes and get his thoughts on this race this evening. Getty Buckner, you got a copy, bud?
Yes, sir. I do have a copy. How are you, sir?
Good. And yourself?
I'm not doing too bad. Not doing too bad. Just watching this awesome race here. Darlington and brings a whole new dimension to auto racing, doesn't it?
Yeah, I was just telling the viewers, man, it's definitely a little bit of it's definitely a different track, to say the least. I mean, you're not racing the other cars out there. You're trying to race as close to that wall as you possibly can and not touch it. And it looks like that just snuck up and hit Martin Wenzel. We chatted with him for a second. Said the officials ran in the afternoon here all week, and the car was a little bit more loose. You could kind of wheel it a little better. And tonight, it just feels like a dump truck. What are your thoughts?
Well, I did do practice. I did anticipate actually participating in this race. Currently, I am doing race control. So I practiced. I put up a decent time. Before it got rubbered in, there was a lot of grip. A lot of these guys, though, I saw they do have a tendency to almost overdrive a little bit on entry, which makes it a little loose. Gets your tires worn a little bit quicker than they probably should. But obviously, these front five guys here know exactly what they're doing. Wade Hustad, of course, he's the winner of last night's race, so he knows how to get around this place very, very well, which is no surprise, of course.
Yeah, Hustad seems to have it figured out, man, running away with this thing just like he did last night. I think he led 118 or 120 laps or something last night in that Northeast Ohio Ghostbusters Grand National Series. So he seems to be taking off here early, but Joseph Helt, Chad Presnell, Anthony Burrows, and Mike Springer, all of them very close to one another, able to keep it close throughout that last run. So See if any of them can give him issues later in the night, and maybe he'll touch the wall a time or two and cost himself some precious seconds.
One thing that's happening right now that Wade didn't have last night is the constant pressure, which obviously, you know, with how competitive this league is, you're never going to have drivers, especially the ones that are near the front. Wade, I think he's won 4 times this season. You know, he doesn't mirror drive, but when you do have that constant pressure from a person like Joseph Held, who just recently won a race in the DRL, he's a 2-time winner this season. His teammate Chad Presnell behind him. You get a little bit more, you know, you get a little bit nervous. Last night he had such a huge gap. He had a very long green flag run where he was able to extend his lead, different pit sequences and all that stuff. So we'll see what he kind of does under pressure here tonight, because it looks like Joseph Held is not going to let him go away.
No, he's not going to let him get too far away. Another thing, too, is I'm praying that we have a nice long green flag run to really see what these guys have as this racetrack's on, because as tires start to go here, braking points change significantly at Darlington. You still want to run that high line, but you got to back that corner way up to keep the car safe. So,
yeah, one thing to keep
there to the inside of Joseph Held.
Yeah, it looks like Joseph Held kind of scrubbed that wall on the exit of 2 there. You know, something that we'll see a lot tonight. You can sustain a decent amount of right side damage and still be competitive here. But one thing we saw last night, talking about the lines here, 3 and 4, once there's rubber on that high line, the bottom line, the middle line, kind of does come in. With this car, I'm not sure, because there's just so much power. It might, you know, end up sliding more than anything. But last night's race, there was another groove later on. And another thing to keep in mind if we do get that long green flag run is the fuel window and the tire window are completely different here, Ryan. Completely different. There's guys last night, Carl Dotson, who I believe finished second. He was short pitting, even though you can go 50 laps on a tank of fuel. He was pitting at lap 30.
Yeah, he did come in second place last night, and you're totally right. I mean, if you want to come in and get those tires replaced in about half the time that everyone else is trying to get them replaced, you can make a run at it, because the fall off is so large here. Again, you have to run on that higher grading. So the thing here at Darlington is the track is a little bit steeper up at the top, so it allows you to stay in the gas a little bit more. Nobody wants to run down at that bottom, especially on old tires, because the car will just go right out from underneath you. So keeping those tires nice and fresh and making sure you're able to maintain speed around these corners, even though you're taking, quote unquote, the longer path around the track, it ends up working out in the long run just because you can maintain a much higher speed.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's so interesting to watch Darlington in any capacity, no matter what vehicle's on there, because you just look at all that asphalt out there, and about 90% of it isn't even usable. it's strange to see. But yeah, no. Looking at Chad Presnell, he got past Joseph Held once Held made that little tiny mental error, and has actually since gained on Wade Hustad slightly. Of course, those guys being teammates.
Yeah, it looks like Presnell is figuring the track out a little bit over time. I mean, in that last green flag run at the start of the race, we did see Hustad start to run away with things. Got almost a second lead on those guys, or a little over the second lead before the caution came out. And Presnell's keeping him nice and close now, and even Helt isn't falling that far back. He's only about a half a second off of the 32 of Hustad now. So I don't know if maybe Hustad didn't take, you know, enough tires. I don't know if he took all 4 tires, or if maybe these other guys are just getting a little better as this track rubbers in a little more.
Well, with Wade, there's always a method to his madness, of course. One thing that he could be doing is kind of just backing up his corners a little bit, maybe anticipating a long green flag run, because Darlington does kind of just promote that style. People get spread out pretty quick, so he could be saving a little bit something. Maybe on that last run he noticed that the percentage of tire wear that he had was more than he was comfortable with. But Joseph Held had another little mental error, and it costed him third place as Anthony Burrows moved past him a couple laps ago.
It looks like we did have somebody wrecked out here. It looked like Sam Niederhelm lost it going down the front stretch. And then he comes back out onto the track. And again, down below that white line, he loses it again, just going around the corner trying to slow it down and get it in the pits. So loses the car twice. Manages to, I think he ends up backing up on the racetrack. It's all the way down onto that apron and stays out of everybody's way. So It looks like he's going to instantly come down to pit road. So Sam Niederhelm is in pit road right now. Been down there for 18 seconds already. So as I was just saying, I mean, there's no way to run below that white line here. You know, the track is really wide, like you said, and these cars are just too fast. They have too much horsepower to let that car drive anywhere other than that maximum banking up towards the top of the track.
Yeah, entering turn one, you can kind of put your left sides on the white line. You can kind of use it. It actually helps kind of get that front end have a little bit of grip. As we see, Wade Hustad is starting to approach the lap traffic here, which is always going to be very tough to name. Oh, we have a caution.
What the fuck is a goddamn caution for? Correct.
Oh, and I just realized that my spotter still says things. So that's awesome. Everybody gets to hear Jimmy Johnson's spotter cursing into the microphone all night. That's going to be fun. I accidentally joined the session tonight, this evening, guys, as a driver rather than a spectator for whatever reason. Like I said, I had a last-minute emergency and wasn't really prepared as well as I should have been for this broadcast tonight. But you guys get to enjoy the lyrical stylings of Jimmy Johnson's spotter.
Very immersive broadcast we have tonight.
Yeah.
It looks like that caution might have been the 39 of Alex Russell, as he did a very similar maneuver that Martin Wenzel did earlier in the race, with just absolutely trying his best to knock down that inside wall, but the inside wall stays undefeated, at least for today.
I don't think anybody's going to be able to take that inside wall out, no matter how many times he gets his butt kicked.
They keep trying.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, he dipped real low onto the racing surface, and well, that's not where he crashed. I don't know. I don't think that was. I don't know if that was Alexander Russell or not. I know he looks like he has more damage than he had the last time, but.
Well, I'm going to step away 1 second as I talk to the drivers here.
No problem. Not exactly sure where the caution actually came out there, guys. Alexander Russell looks like he is missing his front bumper here now, but he was definitely missing much more than that prior. Or he wasn't missing any more than that prior, so I don't know where the caution actually occurred. It was not Alexander Russell, though, as kept the car okay. There's something I didn't see. Was that this...
All right, Ryan, I am back, sir.
Welcome back, buddy. I'm still trying to figure out who that was. I think that might have been Sam Niederhelm yet again, but I could be wrong. I did not see Alexander Russell do anything. Yeah, I think it was Sam Niederhelm for sure.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, I saw him spin, but that could have been a few laps prior. One thing I do know is that Chad Presnell has been given a speeding penalty, so our second place driver will have to fight his way back through this traffic.
Chad Presnell with a speeding penalty.
Yep. Well, we've seen
man.
you can get through the traffic here. Caden Honeycutt did start in last place, and he is now up to 4th. So Chad Presnell, we saw him do it at Kentucky. He started in the back and ended up going on to win that race. We obviously he has the speed right now. His main concern is staying clean because it's so hard to pass here, and one little slip up. Even if you're following the driver just a couple tenths back, if they hit the wall, it's possible that you rear end them, and you could cause yourself some engine damage or just minor damage, which Darlington isn't known for its speed, but you still need some aerodynamics, some.
Yeah, definitely true. You don't want to be missing that whole front bumper. You just won't be able to keep up with these top guys no matter how well you're driving the car. But as you would say, I mean, Caden Honeycutt, who runs 4th right now, he didn't do it the cleanest. I mean, he was bumping guys out of the way. He was kind of fighting his way through some positions that maybe he should have been a little more patient on. And Presnell is one of those more patient drivers. He's not going to just move someone out of his way. So it's going to take him a little bit of time. And if this thing, actually goes green for a while, he might have some issues getting back up there to the front. But maybe another caution or two can help him out, and we'll see him back up in this top 5 before the end of the race.
All right, and just for the stream, before we go take the green here, just so everybody's aware, that last caution was the 96 of David Wellborn. It looks like he gets loose off of turn 3 and absolutely destroyed the other inside wall, which also, Ryan, is undefeated.
Okay, I was going to say, thank you very much for clarifying that, because I did not see Alexander Russell touch anything there. That was a while ago that he took the damage that he had,
Mhm.
so I wasn't sure what had happened, but it was the 96 there of David Wellborn guys who, again, tries to take on the inside wall, and as we know, he's undefeated so far. I don't think he will not be undefeated anytime soon. So
Concrete is
safer barrier or no safer barrier.
right, exactly.
Once again, we take the green flag. Hustad's going to get out to a nice early run, and now all he has is the 0-2 of Joseph Helt to keep him company up there at the front.
It looks like you know, Joseph Helt. Hopefully, that caution gave him enough time to kind of rebound and recoup. He did have a couple little issues here. Looks like Caden Honeycutt, though, looking inside.
Yeah, we got the 37 here. Haven't gotten a chance to see him run with some of these top 3 or 4 drivers tonight, so we'll see if he's actually able to make the pass on Joseph Helt or not. I know he's fought through some other guys, but the thing about Darlington is there's a huge difference between a first-place guy and even a fifth-place guy. I mean, the time difference between being really excellent at this track and just being good at it are astronomical.
Well, and one thing that I can speak of is in practice, I ran a 27.5 or something like that. It's the same speed as Wade Hustad. But can I do that for 10 laps? No, absolutely not. I do not have the skill level that those guys have.
Right,
so
and he just comes out here and he does it lap in and lap out, and it's just unreal.
So it's going to be who has the short run speed, who's able to preserve tires, and then as we've seen Joseph Held, you know, who's able to kind of just take, you know, not major mistakes, but just little ones where you just lose a couple miles an hour off the exit of a corner, which allows somebody to get past you. We'll see who can avoid that, but right now, top 5 seem to be just you know, in control. Mike Springer has been who's in 3rd right now. Is that correct?
No,
he's in 5th.
Springer's in 5th at the moment. He's been really consistent, but he's been consistently 5th. So, big difference. I mean, again, Caden Honeycutt. Oh, as Joseph Helt goes to the inside, trying to take a lower line here and get around Hustad, possibly. He's going to have to let out of the gas coming out of that corner, and that's going to give Caden Honeycutt the free pass. As now we see the 37 move into 2nd. But back to Mike Springer. I mean, I feel like if he doesn't end up in any trouble, that's where he's going to finish, his 5th. Again, very clearly here at Darlington. The speeds and the consistency are completely obvious. There's no guy who's going to come from 3rd and blast himself to 1st because he gets an extra, you know, a couple lucky laps. There's nothing like that's going to happen here at Darlington. The track is so technical. It's so hard to run right next to that wall and keep the car right on the edge of it spinning out. And it looks like Hustad has put in the practice and he's got it figured out.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen, with the exception of Caden Honeycutt moving himself in the top 5, even, you know, Eric Johnson was 8th. And he's still 8th. You know, it's very much consistent with who's doing what here tonight. And really no surprises yet.
I mean, as you were just talking, your buddy Alexander Russell did try to make out with that inside wall once again. So looks like he was going to tow there as he doesn't get flipped around in time. No caution flag does come out. Solo spins is all we've really had so far here tonight. Nobody getting into each other too much. I saw Caden push a guy or two out of the way on his way to the front earlier, but you know, it's clear when the guy's coming up on you and he's gaining on you significantly in Darlington, maybe it's time to move over and get out of the way. And you know, if you're not willing to do so, he's going to make you.
That's always a hard situation because you want to maintain your position. People like myself, you know, if I know that somebody's much faster, I'll pull over. But it's the responsibility of both drivers to do the same dance, you know what I mean? So you don't want to see too much aggression, especially lap 20 or lap 10 of a 187-lap race. But at the same time, Caden Honeycutt, he's very fast. There's no denying that. So he's going to try to get to the front as fast as he can. He's one of those guys that we have in this league that only know the one speed, and that is flat out.
Well, and that's another thing I've been meaning to ask. Maybe I know you're, you know, one of the administrators here with the Dynasty Racing League. Is there anything to prevent these guys from starting at the rear of the field and moving up to the front week in and week out? Because we seem to see that out of Caden Honeycutt in the 37 every week.
Yeah, I mean, I do have the ability when I do race control, which I'm doing right now. I spectate. So during qualifying, I can see both laps. I can see every lap that every driver puts down, which is something that you can't do as a competitor. So I kind of get that special little privilege. And it kind of seems that there are times, I don't know, whether it's on purpose or whether it's accidental, he hit that wall both times, and it cancels out their time there, even if it's 0x for iRacing. So
okay, and that's what I was wondering earlier. I said to the viewers, he might have maybe touched the wall 2 times, or he shows up late, or for whatever reason. It just seems like every week we're talking about how Caden Honeycutt's moved up through the field when maybe he should be one of these front runners. So
yeah, no, it's very interesting. I feel like he's one of those guys that he's just he would be an expert poker player. He just refuses to show his hand, before a race. And it's kind of, after a race or two, you just understand he's going to be fast. So it's not like going to be a surprise, but maybe it's just how he prepares for a race. You just never know. As long as he's doing it within the rules and guidelines of DRL, drivers are free to do what they need to do. Because it looks like Held again gets a little loose, or maybe has to burp the throttle coming off 2, and it costs him a position as Burrows moves up to 3rd.
Yeah, Anthony Burrows, no surprise to see him there racing for a top 5 position yet again. As the 37 of Caden Honeycutt, I don't know if he touched the wall or he came real close to touching the wall there, kind of jerked the wheel a little to the left, and now he has Burrows on the outside of him. So Honeycutt, who was having an awesome run, now making a couple mental errors.
Yeah, and this is the most nerve-wracking thing a driver can do, is try to go too wide here at Darlington, because you can only control so much. If that driver ahead of you slides up, or if you have to slow down, which we saw Joseph Held do. He tried to pass Wade Hustad, but they're so much slower side by side that actually allowed Caden Honeycutt to move past him. So, I mean, I believe I was kind of watching something where on fresh tires side by side with somebody, you lose over a second off of your lap time, which is just so significant here.
Yeah, it's just the speed there coming out of the corners. You're not able to maintain the speed the way you liked, and then the guy who's on top is a little nervous about coming down into you, so it is going to scrub some speed off. And again, with Caden Honeycutt here, we do see him move through a field a lot, but then he makes these little mental mistakes, and sometimes it costs him the race. So hopefully that does not happen. I mean, I think, 3 weeks ago we saw him have to move through the field twice, and he did it twice, and then he still managed to wreck himself out of the race by just pushing the car a little bit too hard. And I think, that's another thing in the qualifying, how we were talking about guys rubbing the wall during qualifying, maybe just pushing the car a little too much. You're trying to get every last 1/10 of a second you can out of your qualifying time, and you just overdrive the vehicle a little.
Yep, and just to clarify, I wish I could do that. If I could run that way, I totally probably would. You know what I mean? I'm kind of a more conservative guy. Just make it to the end, go for top 5s. But if I was the type of driver that had the amount of skill to just chase wins, no matter what the track, no matter what the situation, I totally would.
Probably go for it every time. That's for sure.
Absolutely. But looking at going for it, Wade Hustad, unlike last run, where he kind of allowed Chad Presnall to kind of be sniffing his bumper, Wade Hustad decided that he didn't really like people being near him. Maybe he's a little claustrophobic, I'm not sure, but either way, he's doing everything he can to extend this lead out to almost 2 seconds.
Yeah, that mistake by Caden Honeycutt, that slowed him down, and then him racing side by side with Burrows slowed both of them down for another couple laps. So Hustad was able to run away with it there, and
it'll all balance itself out here as Wade Hustad will approach lap traffic again.
He does, and as we move back to 11th place, speak of the devil, the 55 there at Presnall is back up to 11th, and still posting pretty quick lap times, so faster than both the guy in front of him and the guy behind him. The only car, actually, Chad Presnall posted the fastest time on the track the last time by, so he is gaining. It's just going to take some time.
Yeah, and kind of moving back to the field, we've seen the top 5. We talked about like how the difference between 1st and 5th is X, and the difference between 5th and 10th is X. We've had these 2 groups here running this whole race, and leading that second train there has been Eli Hinton, very impressive. Thomas Harmon, Chris Stouffer also very impressive runs for these guys. As we're closing in on the regular season finale here. Sorry, we're closing in on the regular season finale here, Ryan. So these guys still, there's some jockeying to do for points. So very good runs for these guys.
Yeah, Eli Hinton there in the 23. You guys don't see him on the board here as far as standings go, but he is pushing as hard as he can. He joined the league a little bit late, so he does need to get a win under his belt, I think, at this point to sneak in here. But
I think, unfortunately, there are a couple drivers, including Caden Honeycutt, who and Joseph Held, who actually is a two-time winner. They kind of joined past that point of no return, where it's like it's almost unfair to allow them a championship run just because they joined so late. But I tell you what, next year, and I know I've said this in previous broadcasts, dating back a couple months ago, next year it's going to be off the chain if we can keep this stable of drivers here. This has to be one of the most competitive leagues in all of iRacing as far as the skill, the I rating, for the room, everything's as far as I'm concerned. I might be biased, Ryan. I don't know.
You might be a little bit biased. One of the admins here in the Dynasty Racing League, but no, it really is. I mean, yeah, it's very rare, that we hear bad things from any of our drivers. It's very rare that we hear or that I hear any bad things. We do promote the league and stuff and official races and things like that. There's going to be the bad egg here and there. Somebody who causes some issues. Maybe they get punishment and they don't take it well or whatever, and they get kicked out of the Dynasty Racing League. And it's one of those leagues that's as fair as it can possibly be, giving people second chances, allowing the guys to race the car the way they want to race the car. But at some point, there does have to be a rule book, and we have to control things to a certain extent. But the level of competition has skyrocketed from last year. I mean, last year we saw Anthony Burrows running off with the win every single week, and if he wasn't, Eric Wolf was the guy running away with it. We had Tommy Bordeaux dominate all of the road courses, and this year, even though Burrows, you guys did see there in the point standings, he does have 7 wins again this year, but now we have the likes of Wade Hustad. We got Jonathan Schwartz there in the 58, Chad Presnall, Wade Hustad's teammate there, Thomas Harmon, Hunter Johnson, Eric Johnson, Mike Springer. Those guys are always running up there for a top position, and it's exciting. I mean, I can't wait until next year. We pick up another 5 good talents over the off season, and Dynasty Racing League will be clear-cut the best league in iRacing.
Well, I mean, and I say, I was being biased. It's kind of, just me throwing in my random joke here or there. But to have 26 drivers in a field and still, I mean, with the gap in skill here, to still have a room scheduled to be over 3,000 in strength of field. I mean, that's incredible. It's incredible, and it brings such competitive racing. And it's not just this. It's not just this series either. All 3 of our series. It's or all four rather. It's just so fun to watch. I'm glad to be part of it.
Well, we're glad to have you, Getty.
Yeah, no, but for this race here, I'm very impressed with Wade Hustad. That Caden has cut that lead in half though, as he started approaching that lap traffic that we talked about. But Anthony Burrows right behind, Joseph Held, Mike Springer still maintain that top 5, and Thomas Harmon was able to get past Eli Hinton. He kind of fell back. He must have hit the wall.
Yeah, I mean the sad part here, right, is that the cars that are lap traffic, they're going to give Wade Hustad a much harder time than they're going to give Caden Honeycutt or Anthony Burrows, because when Hustad passes them, they're a lap down. When Caden Honeycutt passes them, well, they're still a lap down. Who cares, right? So, everybody wants to fight to stay on that lead lap. Everyone wants to be able to be the lucky dog. So if you're going to let Wade Hustad past you, at the very least, you want to stay, the first car that's a lead lap down. So these guys are going to do everything they can in order to stay in front of the 32 of Hustad. And maybe won't give the other guys as much resistance, allowing them to catch up a little bit, as we see Caden Honeycutt knocks another tenth or so off of that lead that Hustad has. So,
and just to update, Spencer Tart did a very similar thing to, again, these guys have teamed up to try to take down that inside wall, and Spencer Tart absolutely destroyed it, kind of flipped his car a little bit. Because the racing surface is so high and he stayed below, it didn't bring out that caution, but Spencer Tart, it looks like his day's done.
Yeah, Tart's been down there in pit road for 100 plus seconds. He did just disconnect from the server, so he is gone for tonight. See, David Wellborn's been down there for a long time, Alexander Russell and Joshua Wakefield. Wakefield must have got himself in some trouble as well that we didn't catch on to, but he is now 10 laps down. So 15 cars on the lead lap, the last of which is Chris James, who our leader Wade Hustad will be approaching shortly.
I think with
sits about 28 seconds down.
I think Wakefield, the unfortunate part of iRacing it being a simulator through the internet, I think Wakefield had some connection errors, or some connection issues. Sorry, wrong word, and that caused him to be off track because his car is still pristine.
Huh. It still shows him on pit road. For me, it doesn't show him disconnected from the server, so not 100% sure what's going on with the 35 there at Wakefield, but...
yeah, no, look, Caden Honeycutt, Mike Springer, Chris Stouffer, Eric Johnson, Chad Presnall, he kind of stalled a little bit, but he's kind of stuck back in traffic now. You know, obviously the further you get up into the lineup, the harder it is to pass.
Yeah, last time we looked at Presnall, he was sitting 12th. He currently runs in the 8th position there in the 55. He has Eric Johnson and Chris Stouffer in front of him, both formidable drivers here in this Cup Series. So Chris Stouffer's specialty tends to be the road courses. The 21 of Eric Johnson, just a consistent driver. Early in this season, we saw some excellent driving out of the 21, and he's kind of tapered off. I mean, he just runs somewhere between 4th and 8th, and that's kind of just where he happens to sit race in and race out. So I'd like to see him, put in a little extra practice one of these weeks and come out here and dominate one of these races. But
I do remember talking about him before. He's kind of like, he and Mike Springer, they're kind of what I would call the breakout candidate. Like, they're so close, but with just a sprinkle of good luck, they could definitely break through and get that win. And I was kind of waiting for Eric Johnson to do that. He had a good opportunity at Michigan before he was caught up in a wreck earlier in the year. But otherwise, yeah, you're right. It seems like he kind of hit that ceiling and just can't get past it.
Well, and it's surprising to me. I mean, maybe that goes to show all of the iRacing fans out there and all the guys that play the game. The guy sits at a 5,200 iRating. I mean, he's running 8th right now. We see all but one driver in front of him, and that's Wade Hustad in the first position, has lower iRating than Eric Johnson. So if you can just stay consistent, stay clean, he's a very clean driver, you can win races, you can get top 5s, but, you're not always going to be out there competing for victories if you're racing against other drivers with a little more tenacity. And guys like Caden Honeycutt, he sits with a 3,500 iRating. He came from 27th. He's running 2nd, and he's closed that gap on Wade Hustad to a mere quarter of a second at this point. So Caden Honeycutt maybe pushing the limits of the car a little bit more, maybe not caring as much about his safety rating and things like that. As you guys see, he holds the A license, but he only has a 1.86 in the A license, whereas somebody like Eric Johnson has a 4.99 in the A license. So
yeah, no, it's very different driving styles, and you can see it here tonight. Caden Honeycutt really pushing it. And looks like Wade Hustad might have maybe backed off a little bit. It's possible, as we kind of alluded to earlier, that we'll have the different pit strategies. Maybe someone's trying to make it on 3 stops. Maybe someone is going to go with 4 and make sure that they have fresher tires in everyone. That's what we saw last night. And I'm kind of curious to see if maybe that's what Wade's doing, because he did just have a 2-second lead. Not to take anything from Caden, but he just had a 2-second lead, and now there's no cars in front of him. Kind of surprised that he wasn't able to extend that gap again.
Well, I want to say we don't take anything from Caden Honeycutt here, Getty, as Anthony Burrows still hasn't closed that gap by very much. He still sits a second and a half back, and Caden has. So he's moved his way up a little bit. And as I was saying before, as far as, how you should drive the vehicle, obviously there's no right or wrong. There's guys that are going to drive a little more aggressive than other guys drive. You know what I mean? But it's a matter of how fast can you improve in iRacing. So somebody like Caden Honeycutt, who drives the car to the very limits and sometimes overpushes it and wrecks himself out and therefore ends up with that lower safety rating, are you going to improve quicker by doing that? Always pushing the car to the limit until you figure it out? Or are you going to improve quicker by driving like someone like Eric Johnson, and you drive the car nice and easy until you figure it out? I have a feeling the guy who improves quicker is the guy who drives like Honeycutt here.
Right. And contrary to that, John Theodore, he's another guy that I feel like he's just right on the cusp of being elite. We've seen it in flashes through some of these races that we've seen, and he's kind of taken the more Eric Johnson approach, where he's like easing into it almost, I guess is maybe the word I'm looking for. But
yeah, I watch his streams on a regular basis, and he seems to do that. He takes that same approach. Stay out of guys, just be consistent, run those consistent laps. And I think that's a longer approach to getting really, really, really good at the game and maybe getting to that next level. But Longer approach or not, I mean, it works. You know, John Theodore's done great since he's been here. Eric Johnson's done great all well and is going to find himself in the playoffs. So, you know, maybe by next season we'll see those guys competing for a championship.
Absolutely. The caution is out, and that is going to be for Steven Sims, the 79 car. Kind of hits the wall a little bit, and again goes right to the inside. Right
he
up
disconnected
into traffic.
immediately. I don't know if maybe that was a connection issue on his part, but we can't even go back and watch that wreck. Steven Sims is completely gone from the server here.
Yeah, that was right on the exit of 3 and 4, and again he comes right back up into traffic. Nobody else that I can see sustains any damage from that incident. So far we've had 3 yellows, I believe, 3 solo spins. We could have had more for sure with some of the other spins, but so far
Steven Sims here in the 79, touching the wall, it seems like in every corner he is. See if I can catch exactly what happens here. He was catching this corner of the wall. I'm sorry. Excuse me, a little bit of a yawn. He was catching the corner, the wall in the middle of every corner, and then I don't know what happened. We're gonna hopefully find out here in a second. See, he does dip below the white line there, brings the car right up tight, close to the wall, gets a little bit loose. Manages that corner. Okay, you can hear him, though, in the gas, out of the gas, in the gas, out of the gas. Not how you want to drive these corners. You want to keep it nice and smooth. Get into the gas at the right time and out at the right time, but plows the wall again. Oh, and then he just rubs the wall while trying to straighten the car out, and you're right, he goes right into that inside wall, and that's going to be the end of his night.
Yeah, absolutely. So you certainly understand the immediate disconnect there. I will be right back, Ryan.
Yeah, we're going to take a commercial break, guys. We are still here live with the Dynasty Racing League. 81 laps in out of 187 here at Darlington Raceway. It's been a good race so far. That is our 3rd caution of the night, all due to solo spinning. Nobody really getting in any bad accidents so far here tonight. We did have Wade Hustad come off in first place there out of the pits. Caden Honeycutt, who got an extremely long pit there. Don't know what happened to Mr. Honeycutt, but he finds himself... Oh, maybe Honeycutt actually had just come down and taken tires himself, as he now has 2 laps on his tires, while it's showing me everyone else has 1 laps on their tires. So Honeycutt might have just pit before that caution come out. He's going to come out in the 4th position there in the number 37. So Anthony Burrows getting up to 2nd. Joseph Helt sits 3rd. See if Helt can hold Honeycutt off this time around, but we will be back in just a minute with more live action here with the Dynasty Racing League. Well, I guess the the stream was muted that whole time. Nobody was able to hear what we were saying. That's
okay.
my
It wasn't
apologies.
anything
No,
good.
definitely
You didn't
was.
miss anything.
Wasn't anything good by any means. No, but as we were just saying, I mean, Caden Honeycutt here, he's trying to make that little bit lower line work. As we saw when Honeycutt went around Burrows just a couple minutes ago, as soon as you dip to that lower side, that guy behind you tries to occupy the position, and it makes your life even harder because you have to get out of the gas. And how are you supposed to pass a guy in front of you if you're getting out of the gas while he's getting into it?
Yeah, you're going to have to. I mean, we've seen failed pass attempts on entry. What Honeycutt has to do, and what Wade Husted, the reason that he's led this whole race basically, is his exit is pristine. Oh, we do have a yellow flag.
See if we can see where that comes out. The 39 there once again. That is the third time we've seen Alexander Russell spin himself, and the rear of his car is smoking at this point. So that might be the end of the line for Alexander Russell there in the 39.
Yeah, but
we can go back and get a look here, see exactly what happens to the 39. But
I'll be right back, Ryan.
yeah, Alexander Russell, as you guys saw there, once again, that outside wall just biting the car, sends him down to the inside, and that's going to be the end of his night.
All right, I am back, Ryan. But yeah, no. One of the things I was mentioning before is just the exit. That's where he's gonna have to set up this pass, and that's. I mean, you can see Caden Honeycutt's been sniffing it out, but that's the only way that any pass is gonna work on Wade Husted is you have to get him coming out of 2 or coming out of 4.
Yeah, and even, I mean, on the way out, how are you going to get more speed than he does? I mean, I feel like the pass is going to have to happen down here on pit road unless you get a mistake by the 32 of Husted. So he does slide into his box just perfectly, and I don't think anyone's beaten him off pit road this time by. But they did just pit recently. Maybe somebody will take 2 tires and try to beat him off.
When we wait to see. Here comes
Husted
Burrows.
14.53. Christopher got a nice quick pit there with a 14.33. John Theodore following just behind Burrows with a 15.38. He does come out. Oh, Burrows comes out ahead of Caden Honeycutt there. So Burrows once again making up a position on pit road. I don't know what the magic solution is there. It seemed like.
Well, this is the downfall of starting in the rear. You know, Burrows and Husted get the benefit of, you know, they can play the timing lines near the exit of pit road.
Yeah, they can speed off out of that last section just a little bit, and Caden Honeycutt's
you can speed a little bit to do it.
So,
and he has to go the entire length. So you know, this is one of the few tracks where, I mean, we go to some tracks where it just doesn't matter, like Indianapolis, where I believe we'll go next week. There's, I mean, besides being the pole sitter, there's no really advantage. You know, qualifying towards the front versus the back on pit road. Here there is, though, because the timing lines, you know, iRacing does a wonderful job replicating everything that Darlington does, and we see that in real life. A guy that doesn't qualify well but is near the front, he will always lose positions on pit road.
and Caden Honeycutt kind of punishing himself on accident there by touching that wall a couple times during qualifying, and we see Anthony Burrows capitalizing on it for sure.
But another person who's capitalizing by just running steady is Thomas Harmon, who's now made his way past Joseph Held on pit road. So Thomas Harmon, we know he can get it done. He's one of the few drivers that have won in every single series that we have this season, with the exception of IndyCar. So I mean, he's won the trucks, he's won in the B car, he's won in the Cup race at Texas, which a remarkable finish. I still might be the finish of the year.
Oh, that's a memorable one, that's for sure.
But no surprise to see him up here. Chris Stouffer, Eric Johnson, all these guys that we talked about still hanging up here in the top 10. Really, really great field tonight.
You know what else is memorable? Look at that paint scheme that Thomas Harmon's running.
Absolutely. You knew somebody was going to do it. Yeah.
Somebody had to. I don't know how I feel about seeing the number 68 on that car, but that is Dale
does look a
Earnhardt
little
Sr.'s
It does
beautiful
look a
paint
little
scheme.
goofy.
The Intimidator out there.
I think Burrows might be my favorite. I'm surprised nobody's running a Mark Martin throwback, which they would have gotten bonus points for me. But you know, whatever. It is what it is. I'll be right back.
We are going to take the green flag here again next time around. These guys come down the backstretch here. At Darlington, 96 laps in out of 187, so only about halfway through this race, guys. There's still a lot of things that can happen here tonight.
And we are back, or I am back. You never left.
I did not leave, that is for sure. I was just saying, halfway through, man, I feel like there's been a lot of action, really, for halfway through. I expected some of the cautions early. I didn't expect the last couple, but it's been all solo spins. Nobody's gotten into each other too significantly. It's been clean racing, and that's exciting to watch these front guys really battle for position.
No, it's been remarkable watching. There's just the patience. There's been so much give and take tonight, and that's what you need at a track like this in order for a race to be successful. We saw at Bristol a few weeks ago. There was not a lot of give and take, and that race was not successful in no way at all. So I mean, and this is a kind of a similar thing where you got the one groove and all that stuff. So tonight these guys are really showing what they got as far as being true competitors.
Well, I think that's what separated Bristol from a track like Darlington, is that it didn't have just one groove. It had multiple. And, you know, some of those guys who were trying to make that inside work, it works great when you're in clean air. It doesn't work so good when you're running with another car outside of you, because you do need to use the whole exit of the corner to get up next to that wall. And you don't have to have that as much here at Darlington. But you're right. I mean, if you were to hold the gas, maybe, you know, if there wasn't a car there, you'd be fine. If there is a car there, well, guess what? You're taking not only yourself, but him out of the race as well.
Yeah, and what I meant, yeah, of course, yeah, there was a two-groove track, but there was that one favored dominant line. Ooh, Christopher. Yeah,
Stouffer right into the back of Thomas Harmon there. It looked like Harmon might have bounced off the wall just a little bit.
And also, in the meantime, Caden Honeycutt puts a slide job on Burrows and maintains that second position.
Well, that was the 0-2 of Joseph Helt that actually got into the back of Thomas Harmon there. So Christopher makes the clean pass, and then Harmon with the slight mistake, or the 0-2 with the slight mistake. Kind of both of those guys vying for the same position on the track at the same time.
And that's the difference. Joseph Held has the same speed that Wade Hustad does. It's just been those little errors. You know, there's never a good time for one, but it seems like anytime he makes a little error, it's at a time that is less than desirable, and it costs him positions. It costs him time on the track.
There's always somebody nipping at your heels, ready to take a position away, and Thomas Harmon was the benefactor there, that's for sure.
As was Christopher.
Also, yeah, he gains a couple positions on that, so you see Helt here to the inside of Harmon. Harmon's going to give him the position, lets off the gas a little early. Joseph Helt dives in there and takes it away.
I'm very curious as to what has happened to one of our early favorites, Chad Presnall, again, backing up the very rear of the top 10 here. I wonder if he got another speeding penalty.
I don't know what's going on with Presnell. His car looks really clean. Even the outside of his car, where you would expect some scrapes from the wall, is not too ugly looking. The 55 of Presnell having some issues down there on pit road, that's for sure.
He really loves passing cars. It's the only explanation I can come up with.
I think there's only one guy who likes passing cars more out here, and that's Caden Honeycutt, and he runs second now. And there's only one guy left to pass, and I don't know if that's going to be an easy task, Getty.
No, again, it's hard to set up on exit, because that's what you're going to have to do in order to get that that position heading into the next turn. To maybe, that's where you get the slide jobs and stuff like that. And you just can't do it because Wade Hustad coming off these corners is remarkable. It only takes one mistake, though, but Wade Hustad has yet to do it.
Yeah, practically mistake-free tonight from the 32, just as he was last night. Ton of laps led. I think actually he's led all but a couple laps so far here tonight, and those only came under caution. So
correct.
These two guys just running away from the rest of the field. Anthony Burrows, who has 7 wins already here in the Dynasty Racing League so far this year, runs in third, and he's almost 2 seconds behind these two front drivers.
Yeah, Anthony Burrows actually getting a little bit of heat from Chris Stouffer and Joseph Held. Chris Stouffer coming on strong as this race has progressed. Obviously, we saw he got, a couple free positions, if you will, quote unquote, but has maintained them.
Yeah, he got out there, got a little clean air under the front of the car, and he's able to catch up slowly to the rear end of Anthony Burrows in the 62. So half a second back from Burrows. Has Helt right on his bumper, as you were saying, and then back from him, there's a bit of a gap to the 68 of Thomas Harmon. Eric Johnson, John Theodore, Chad Presnall, and Hunter Johnson rounds out the top 10. So,
one thing to think about, Ryan, with as we approach the 80 lap to go mark, there's one stop left, so you can make this on one more stop if this does go green.
You can make it. Question is, do you want to make it? Some of these guys who, as you were saying earlier, they might want to make 2 more stops here, get tires a couple times, keep the car a little bit fresher, and try to race around some of these guys. But that's where you have to just take into account the amount of risk there is involved with that, right? So if you're comfortable in the car, there's practically no risk at all, right? Because as long as you can keep the car out of the wall, you're going to be okay, even on your slower tires. It's just your lap times are going to fall a little bit. The other risk is everyone else going to be okay on their old tires? And are you comfortable passing some of the slower cars on the track on your fresher ones? So
now, while we were discussing that Chris Stouffer very, very unfortunate incident just a lap ago, hitting the outside wall, and his night is over.
Yeah,
he hits the outside wall.
There into the wall. He is almost 30 seconds now on pit road, so that'll be the end of the evening for Chris Stouffer.
And that's we were just talking about how he's getting, coming on strong as this race progressed, and now very unfortunate. But you see guys like Eric Johnson and John Theodore who have just kind of minding their own business as these top guys continue to make these little mistakes. They're chipping away, and now Eric Johnson's one spot away from being in the top 5. I'm starting to have an idea, Ryan. It looks like an opportunity for Caden Honeycutt to maybe pass Wade Burrows could potentially be when they catch lap traffic again, because it seems like Caden's kind of just sitting there waiting. I'm not sure. He's not really pushing the issue right now, but he is not letting him go.
Yeah, I know you don't know that you just said it, but you definitely just called Wade Hustad Wade Burrows.
Did I? Oh, man, and it's going to be a long night.
Whoa,
no!
And Caden Honeycutt turns the 32 of Wade Hustad. Hustad able to maintain it. Keeps the car going straight, but here comes Anthony Burrows. Just as we're talking about Wade Hustad and Anthony Burrows, Burrows able to capitalize, and there's Caden Honeycutt. I don't know if that was his mistake, Hustad's mistake, if Hustad maybe got into the brakes a little too late into that corner, feeling the car start to push, but
It just looks like Caden kind of comes up into him a little bit. He took that low entry in, and as we saw, we saw maybe that bottom line would come in at some point, but he kind of slides up and just catches Wade as Wade fills his britches with poo-poo.
Well, you were talking about being patient, and then Caden Honeycutt was not patient as he gets into the back of the 32. Doesn't look like it damaged either of them too much, but where it did hurt is the tires. The tires cannot be feeling good for either one of these guys compared to a lap ago. And Burrows just capitalizes on a major mistake by both the 32 and the 37.
And now 32 has to find his way around the 62, which, again, setting up your passes here. This is uncharted territory for Wade, as when he sets up his pass on Burrows, he also is going to have to check his rear view, as we've seen Honeycutt take advantage of 2.
Oh, and Burrows off the wall there. Or not Burrows, I'm sorry. Hustad off the wall there just a little bit. I did the same thing you did.
It's hard to keep all these dominant drivers' names in line here sometimes. But, yeah, I'm curious to see what Wade does when he catches Burrows. If he tries to pass in turns 3 and 4 again, Caden Honeycutt, he could do what he's done twice already and totally pass, take over second, and then set his sights on the leader. Hopefully this time not making contact.
Well, you got to think, Getty, that both of those guys just added about 10 laps to the life on their tires. So these guys, while Anthony Burrows is running on 20-lap old tires, you could consider Hustad and Caden Honeycutt running on 30-lap tires, because sending the car sideways like that puts so much heat in them.
Yeah, and it's all about heat. And at Darlington, when you're already running measurable just inches away from the wall, pushing these things, doing everything you can to push it to the max, it's not going to be great. The hotter that your tire gets, the faster that it expires. So they kind of have to take it easy, cool them down, and then they can get back to pushing. But right now, Anthony Burrows is going to be, getting some lap sled. Ooh, and he hits the wall there.
Well, fortunately here for the 32 of Hustad, he has that time to afford. He can probably catch up to Burrows just a hair on pit road, even if they go green flag pit stops. Caden Honeycutt in the 37, however, does not have that opportunity. As we saw earlier, Burrows was able to get on him multiple times down pit road. So now that Burrows is in front of the 37, I don't think there's any way, if this thing goes green the rest of the way, that that Honeycutt's going to be able to make up any time on pit road. But we'll see.
Yeah, and right behind him, Joseph Helt, who had, obviously because of that issue, he caught right back up to those guys. Joseph Helt hits that wall again, and he's just a couple hits of the wall away from potentially leading this race. We've seen he has the speed. Again, it's just the small mental errors. And impressively enough, also is still the second group behind these guys that has contained Eric Johnson, John Theodore, and Thomas Harmon for almost every lap of this race. And Chad Presnell behind him trying to cut through the traffic again.
Yeah, Presnell moves up a couple of positions, back up to 8th now, but it makes you wonder, I mean, what exactly happened to Presnell there in the middle of that race? I'd like to talk to him at the end of this one, if he isn't able to get his positions back. And, well, actually, Presnell has an issue again, and Presnell loses position to Hunter Johnson there in the 98. So, and again, close to the wall. Now it looks like he's going to lose a position here to the number...
Yeah, the 23 of Eli Hinton.
3 of Eli Hinton goes to the inside, and Mike Springer is knocking on the door now. So,
and I don't recall what happened to Springer either. I remember him being in the top 5. Very hard to keep track of all the happenings here.
Yeah, I mean, minor wall scrapes here and there is going to cause that stuff to happen. 2 of the major losses we saw from Presnell was right after one of those cautions. He lost it on pit road, whatever, whether he sped or if he didn't get in and out of his box properly. I'm not 100% sure on the second one, but
sure.
I mean, Eli Hinton making some mistakes into the wall. You had Joseph Helt has been, as you said earlier, probably just as fast as the 32 of Wade Hustad, but the wall just keeps sneaking up on him over and over again.
Yep, and perseverance is the key to a 187-lap race. So, I'm almost losing my words here looking at this battle for the lead. These guys are just nose to tail.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. I mean, historically, or I say historically, but for the evening and in practice, both Wade Hustad and Caden Honeycutt have been better than the 62 of Burrows. But after that mishap earlier, Burrows was able to get in front of him, and it doesn't look like he's willing to give the position back, Getty.
No, and looking at it, Burrows has kind of benefited from the fact where he's kind of been back in 3rd, 4th position just riding, whereas Wade Hustad and Honeycutt have kind of used up as much of their right side as they can. Oh, Burrows gone!
Wow.
Every time.
And we're going to go back. This is absolutely crazy. We're going to go back real fast and look at Anthony Burrows from the cockpit view and see what happens to him here. We ride along here with Anthony Burrows as he enters turn 3. As you guys can see how close he's keeping that car to the wall. Dips down to this white line, and he just pointed the car towards the wall a little too much. What an amazing save by Anthony Burrows.
Incredible.
Any lesser driver would have turned that right into that inside wall. Burrows able to get right back up in there into the corner, and just absolutely stellar driving by the 62 of Anthony Burrows. That's a pleasure to watch. He straightened the car out, right? Because when you come out of these corners, guys, you want to keep the car nice and straight and get as much speed as you can off the corner. Well, he straightened it out a little too much, and then he was heading towards the wall, so he spun the wheel back to the left, and the back end just went out from underneath him. So Burrows giving back up that spot that he worked so hard for earlier by riding around in that 3rd position. When you saw the mistake there by the 37 of Honeycutt, and now we're right back where we were before, Getty. As the next caution comes out, that is caution number 4, I believe, here tonight on lap 124 or 187.
Yeah, no, sorry, Occupy, just trying to look at the caution here. Yeah, that was the 44 doing a little dance off a turn 2 and stops there in the middle of the middle of the track. That'll be our caution, as I will speak to the drivers 1 second.
See the 44 here of David Wright down here in the Busch car. Right in the middle of that corner. It looks like the engine just blows on him and he heads right to that inside wall. Oh, wow, the 66 there. I think that is Chris James, I believe, in the 66. Oh, that is Aaron James. I apologize. That's Aaron James, the number 66. Looks like he panics a little bit, or maybe just came too close to the wall right after David Wright spun there. He gets himself loose and goes down to that inside wall, so... And we see these guys coming down pit road yet again. I think Anthony Burrows, we'll see. I don't know if he has to get some damage repaired or not. I think all he did was burn up his tires a little bit after that wreck, so...
And I still don't know. I mean, I still even think after this, it's still one stop, because we see what even these elite drivers are doing with a little bit of tire wear. So certainly this is not the last time these guys will be down pit road.
Yeah, I mean, your one-stop call from earlier, I think, was pushing it just a hair. And again, Anthony Burrows with the nice, quick pit stop. Able to find himself off of pit road faster than the likes of Caden Honeycutt. Actually, Caden Honeycutt with a horrible pit stop there.
He lost a lot of positions, and, you know...
He gives up position to both Hunter Johnson, Eric Johnson, and Joseph Helt there in the O2. So now Honeycutt has a few positions to make up. But Anthony Burrow, I mean, after... I want to go back and watch it over and over again, Getty. That was an absolutely amazing save. We've seen these guys go from that outside wall with a touch down to the inside wall and completely ruin their car about 10 times. And you guys saw Anthony Burrows snap the wheel from one side to the other about 4 times in 2 seconds and save the car. Absolutely amazing.
And that's why I exclaimed the way I did. I thought his race was over. As soon as I saw him spin, that's why I was like, oh no! Because... I don't know. I guess I was doubting his greatness. What can I say?
It's unbelievable. Like, he had the car. So, and that's the thing, is it's a split, literally a millisecond thing, right? So you bump off that outside wall, and of course, to prevent that, you were trying to steer the car to the left. So your wheel's now turned all the way to the left-hand side, right? And then the wall hit comes, and all of a sudden, the car goes completely left, and you have your wheel turned to the left. So now you spin your wheel all the way back to the right in the split decision moment, and every driver that we've seen so far tonight is going to try to hold it to the right until it snaps back around. Well, Anthony Burrows keeps it to the right for the exact right amount of time and spins it back to the left until it straightens and back to the right one more time until it really gets going again. And even after that, you see some guys make that save on an everyday basis, and then they get back into the gas too fast and spin it a second time anyway. And Burrows just shows us what it's like to drive this car at an elite level, man. That was unbelievable to watch him do that.
Save of the year? Question mark?
Dude, it's...
I mean, you know what I mean? Like,
it's close. I mean, the front left tire of that car was so close to the inside wall, it's unreal, man. And he just kept it an inch from the wall and then got it back on the track and maintained his position. That's the impressive part. I'd be that guy who slowed down to 30 miles an hour. If I made that save, I'd be like having a heart attack, trying to slow myself down.
Would I make that save? I don't think I would.
Well, I said it. I said if. Okay, that was an if.
All right. I'm going to speak to the drivers real quick. I'll be right back, Ryan.
No problem. And now, again, we see Chad Presnall down here on pit road. I don't know what Presnall's doing down on pit road yet again. We've had some issues here from Presnall tonight. I want to go down and chat with him and see... maybe what's going on with Chad Presnall. I don't know. Maybe we can get a little insight. These guys are going to come back around and collect the green flag, but let me try to get him in here for a quick interview. Chad Presnall, you got a copy, sir?
Yeah, I got you, bud.
Hey, this is Ryan up in the booth, man. What's going on tonight? Seems like every time we've had a caution, you've lost some time on pit road. What's going on out there?
Yeah, I just keep getting damage, making mental errors, and get my mess together for this back half of the race.
Well, we're about to go back green. Best of luck, buddy.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, so his small mental errors, as Chad Presnall was just saying there, he just silly stuff, keeps taking damage when he doesn't need to, and every time we go down pit road under one of these cautions, he's losing time because of repairs and things like that. So hopefully Presnall can get the small problems fixed and is able to get back up there towards the front, as we know he can run with these top few drivers.
And another driver that we have to watch make their way to the front will be Caden Honeycutt in that 37 car as he makes the pass on Hunter Johnson here on the outside.
Yeah, definitely not looking as bad as the 55 at Presnall. He did come out of the pits there in 5th position. That pit box is absolutely killing him under these caution flag pit stops, as he had 4 drivers get to pass him there, main one being Anthony Burrows. So as we've proven to ourselves already here tonight, or as the drivers have proven to us, it's much easier to run in clean air than it is with some of these other cars in front of you.
And the other thing with Caden Honeycutt here, he's going to have to fight his way past Joseph Held. He's going to have to fight his way past Burrows or whomever is in second at that time, using up more of his equipment. And here's the thing, with the amount of laps that we have left, the leaders can make it. But, and if it gets to a situation, it's possible that, somebody will try to push it. Caden Honeycutt, though, the more he battles and the harder he pushes, the less likely he is to have success at the end of this run.
Well, question is, again, Getty, do they want to make it? As we see probably about 55 laps here left for these guys. They're going to be pushing the fuel. They're most definitely going to be pushing the tires. Are we going to see somebody come down and try to pit in about 30 laps?
That's what I would anticipate. But again, I'm just, trying to speak of, just another alternate situation. But I do think that these guys haven't seen pit road for the last time. Looking at Caden Honeycutt make an attempt on 2 here, the 0-2 of Joseph Held, and it looks like Held kind of just lets him go.
Held definitely let him go, maybe letting out of the gas a little too much there as the 98 of Hunter Johnson gets right to his rear bumper. Held knows how Honeycutt likes to push it, and clearly the quicker driver, unfortunately, I hate to say that about anybody, but Honeycutt is clearly a little bit of a step above Joseph Helt here tonight, as Helt has had one too many mental errors, maybe has a little too much aero damage to the car.
Now, one thing that we're seeing Burrows do, which of course is never a surprise, is he's really keeping it close to Wade Hustad right now. And, we've seen him kind of be back in 3rd and 4th. We've seen him kind of take it easy, but now, I mean, this is the guy that's won 7 times, and now he's going to give him a lesson on why. It's because he knows when to attack. And,
yeah, he's just being very patient, keeping real close to Wade Hustad, but not pushing the issue too much. As you see Caden Honeycutt's diving into these corners, sliding up really, really close to the wall. He's making every effort to gain precious seconds on these guys, but if this thing goes green for the rest of the way, Getty, that's going to be a problem towards the end of this race.
It's going to be some predicaments, I guess, is the best word I can come up with. I'm sure I could come up with better, but Caden Honeycutt making that pass on Burrows look easy almost. It's incredible. And Wade Hustad trying to block him here.
He did make it look easy. Hustad rubbed the wall just a little bit in that last corner, but again, Martin, or I'm sorry, I keep calling you, or wanting to call you Martin, because that's my
I wish I could be Martin. Oh, contact!
Dude, that was Wade Hustad getting really close to that wall, just trying to correct the car a little bit. As I said, as you approach the wall, you have the wheel turn completely to the left, and Honeycutt pays the price as Hustad bumps him on his right side quarter panel there. So Honeycutt kept it underneath him, didn't get too crazy in the middle of that corner and wreck Wade Hustad back. Hopefully we see clean driving out of these guys. I don't think there's any ill intentions, but if there was one of these guys in the top 5 that I wouldn't be surprised if he were to wreck another driver. Caden Honeycutt would be the one.
Yeah, luckily I have the opportunity to kind of hear the chatter between drivers here. Wade Hustad obviously apologizing, not intentional. Caden Honeycutt seems to have taken it well. And these drivers move on here. Still a decent amount of laps left here. Caden Honeycutt, though, wow. I mean, he pulls right back up to Wade here.
Yeah, again, he is really, really driving the car, Getty. He's diving the corners a lot harder than Hustad is. Hustad's running the same line he's been running all race, staying very patient. Honeycutt is going inside earlier, which means he's driving it in faster. And then he's hitting the brakes a little bit later and getting right up close to the wall. And then as soon as the front end of the car starts to turn left, he gets right back into the gas. So I just feel like both turning in harder is ruining the right front wheel, and then braking harder as you get to that outside wall and turning your wheel so hard to the left is ruining the right front wheel. So
like I said, I've said a few times, and I'll say it just one more time, Ryan. you have to find a way to search. I mean, you can see him looking, you can see him searching,
Yep.
and he's focusing too much on in and not enough out. He had Wade Hustad once on exit.
There he goes, down low yet again. He gets real close to the wall here on the exit.
And then say goodbye to Wade.
And that's the thing. Wade Hustad's going to take off on that exit, and it's the rear straight, or it's the straightaway speed that's really killing Caden Honeycutt right now. And I think his tires are hurting him a little too much at this point. That as long as we don't see a major mistake by Hustad, he's just going to continue to run away with this.
I mean, it's all about on these tight tracks here. We saw, I remember seeing a few years ago Mark Martin and Jimmy Johnson battling it out for Darlington, one of his last wins of his career for Mark Martin when he was driving the 5-car. Jimmy Johnson was on fresher tires. He was much faster, much more aggressive, but Mark Martin, who, as everyone knows, is very, very calm driver no matter what, he just took him to school because it was all about exit. And here, obviously, this is a simulator. It's going to be very similar, and it's the same thing. Wade Hustad, he's not going to drive it in as hard as Honeycutt, but he's just driving it off so smooth, with the exception of the one time that Caden Honeycutt got inside of him, and unfortunately they made contact and he lost that advantage. But I mean, that's what it's going to be hard to do, because Wade is a very accomplished professional driver. He could probably do this for a living in real life. That's how good he is. And trying to beat him on exit, which is the only way you can beat a driver here, it's going to be pretty close to impossible. I think Honeycutt would be smart if he would just relax a little bit and wait for Hustad to make another mistake.
Well, when you talk about relaxing, I think the one guy who is a little more relaxed right now is the 62 of Anthony Burrows. Completely okay with running in that third position at the moment. He was running in 5th, 6th, 4th earlier tonight. He just keeps running the same line. He's comfortable with it. He's not putting too much work on those tires, and I think Burrows is going to be a force to be reckoned with as this race goes on. If these guys end up going green, it's going to be tough to hold Burrows off.
Well, one thing to think about, and we're talking about Burrows being so relaxed, is this is 2-3 times now where Wade Hustad and Caden Honeycutt have made contact. Anthony Burrows, he could just sit here and wait, because who's to say it won't happen again? And he's already taken the lead once because of contact between the leaders. And you saw that once he had it, he did not give it up easy. So, I mean, it's not unwise for someone who doesn't need the win. He's already got 7. He could just sit here and wait for something to happen in front of him, and the chances are it just might.
Crazy race so far. I feel like we've talked about these front 3 guys so often, but it's been a pleasure to watch those 3 battling for the lead. Joseph Helt sits in the 4th position, hasn't made one of those major mistakes like he did a couple times earlier in the race, as we see the 37 of Honeycutt do just that. 98 Hunter Johnson sits in the 5th position. 6th goes to Mike Springer, who's been back there for a majority of the race, running that throwback.
Good rebound by Mr. Springer.
Yeah, that throwback car of Jeff Gordon's there. I love the DuPont Chevrolet there on the number 12. Eric Johnson, consistent driver we talked about earlier, who maybe is a little too consistent at times, likes to just hang back and take it easy and not get into anyone and not push any buttons, and feel as if he could be an elite level driver if maybe he would push a few more buttons. John Theodore, same very similar type of driver, sits in the 8th position. Eli Hinton runs in 9th, and then jumping all the way back to the number 80 of P.G. O'Leary, who runs 10th. Only real contenders left still here in this race, but Chris James in the 82 and the 64 of John Mullins still on the lead lap. Everyone else is at least 1 lap down.
Yeah, and normally during a broadcast we cycle through the field, we do everything we can, but as you've mentioned once or twice at least, the skill level between 1st and 5th even is so great, and these guys are put on such a show up front. It's almost hard to break away. But mentioning Hunter Johnson, who is just now coming to the top 5, a great run for him. He's had issues with finishing races. He's another one that kind of gets in the back of the field and doesn't navigate traffic as well as maybe he should. Running a brilliant Bill Elliott scheme tonight. Mike Springer rebounding well, and then of course Eric Johnson, John Theodore. I'm pretty sure they've been 7th and 8th for 150 laps. No matter what has changed in front or behind them, they have stayed the same.
Yeah, I mean, we were off last week, but the week before that, Hunter Johnson, I had an interview with him. I think he finished in 5th that race, maybe 4th. I think it was 5th. He currently runs in 5th tonight, so he started in the 9th position. Another one of those guys who, consistently. I mean, he can put out top 5 finishes, but, you know, he can put out top 5 finishes, but, you know, he can put out top 5 finishes, but, you know, he can put out top 5 finishes, but, you know, he can put out top 5 finishes, but, you know, he can put out top 5 finishes, but, you know, he can put out top 5 finishes, but, you know, he can put out top 5 finishes, but, you know, he can put out top 5 finishes, but, you know, he can put out top 5 finishes, but, you know, he can put out top 5 finishes, but, you know, he can put out top 5 finishes, but, you know, he can put out top 5 finishes, but, you know, he can put out top 5 finishes, but, you know, he can put out top 5 finishes, but, you know, he can put out top 5 finishes, but, you know, he can put out top 5 finishes, but, you know, he can put out top 5 finishes, but, you know, he can put out top 5 finishes, but, you know, he can put out top 5 finishes, but, you know, he can put out top 5 finishes I don't know if he has the tenacity to take a championship here in the Dynasty Racing League, as the competition has gotten stiff. Joseph Helt here, he runs in 4th. He started in that 2nd position just behind Wade Hustad with an excellent qualifying time. I feel like he might be one of those guys who can take a championship, but maybe didn't get enough an early enough start here in the Dynasty Racing League to make a run for it. Anthony Burroughs there in the 62. We still see him sitting in 3rd. Caden Honeycutt still chasing our leader, Wade Hustad.
Yeah, and talking about people like Joseph Held, Hunter Johnson, Mike Springer, that's like the next tier of driver. You know, we simulate the NASCAR schedule, so that means that there's going to be an off season here. You know, when we come back for Daytona in February, you know, who has put in the work? Because with iRacing, even though it's considered, you know, I guess you could call it a game, most people don't, you know, use it as a game. They use it. You know, it's almost like a lifestyle. So who puts in the time in the off season to gain that 10th, to learn how to save tires so you're faster for 5 laps longer? I mean, there's so many things that could change, you know, between now and Daytona. And I'm looking at Joseph Held, Hunter Johnson, Springer, Eric. You know, that next tier, I believe we'll see a couple of those guys move up to the next level. And obviously that's just going to increase the competitiveness of this league.
Yeah, I mean, you ask who puts in the work. You know, one guy I know who definitely will put in the work is the 62 of Anthony Burroughs, as he showed us between last season and this one. We will be having a winter series here in the Dynasty Racing League. Not 100% sure what that entails at this point, which cars will be driven and which tracks will be driven, but there will be some downtime, some more races here at DRL TV. We will be bringing you guys additional coverage here of these drivers during that quote-unquote off-season. There might also be a dirt series, there might be a road series, there might be an Indy series this winter series, so we'll see what happens during the off-season. There are going to be some changes with the Dynasty Racing League. There's going to be some rule changes. There will be drivers coming in and out of the league between now and then, but one thing at this point that you can see as a constant is Anthony Burroughs. I mean, the guy's just impressed week in and week out for over a year now. He's been here with the DRL, and he's always out there competing for finishes. So as this race comes to a close, 32 laps remaining.
Yeah, I still think we might see guys on pit road at some point, and I bet you I wouldn't surprise me if it was this pack back here. These guys are just battling it out right now between the...
Oh, and Caden Honeycutt yet again gets real close to that wall and whips it down into the middle of the front stretch. Honeycutt's just pushing this car to the limit right now, Getty.
Yeah, you know, I was watching this battle back here with Eric Johnson, Eli Hinton, and my let me correct myself. John Mullins is running the Valvoline Mark Martin car. John Mullins, you are my hero. Caden Honeycutt, though, again, yeah, and he's kind of running out of time. Not quite. I mean, you got to catch Wade Hustad, and then you have to pass him, and that could take the rest of this race at least. And I mean, I could chase Wade Hustad for the rest of my natural-born life, and I'll never catch him. So. Wade, you know, Caden Honeycutt, I think, you know, you talked about him using up his stuff early. He might have seen that as his last opportunity because, you know, the clean air might actually be benefiting Wade. That's
kind of how I felt like it was, Getty. In those early laps, he really needed to push and take that lead away from Hustad, because if he didn't, there's no way to get Hustad to slow down. So if he would have gotten the lead away, Hustad might not have been able to get it back, even if Caden Honeycutt's tires were worse, simply because Hustad couldn't use the lower line. But he wasn't able to get the position, and now Hustad seems to be running away with it. He has almost a 3/4 second gap on him. The 64, John Mullins, you just talked about, he did come down and get fresher tires, and he's currently 2 laps behind the leaders right now. But he has made a few passes here in quick manner. They're running that Mark Martin scheme like you were talking about, so...
Yeah, and we see Chris James there on the you know, kind of spun out there on the start-finish line. But looking at Wade Hustad, I'm looking right out of his windshield right now, Ryan. I'm not seeing a whole lot of interference in the near future, which is going to allow Wade, if he can, to continue to build that lead before he hits any lap traffic.
Talking about building the lead here, Getty, are you familiar with how these bonus points work when we come to the playoffs?
As familiar as I can be. I feel like I've kind of lost touch with some of the points rules as I took a step back from broadcasting, but I do understand that a win here significantly helps Wade Hustad. How many wins does he have this season?
He's got 5 as of right now. Anthony Burrows currently sits in first with 7 wins. So this is going to put Hustad 3 points closer to the likes of Anthony Burrows. That'll give him 18 bonus points heading into these playoffs. So the way this works, guys, it's not like the current playoffs is today, as we don't run a complete reset as far as I know in the Cup Series. I think we just run a points reset. So these top 16 drivers, unless I'm mistaken, and I will get 100% confirmation on that going into next week. But I don't think they're running stages. I think they're running a point reset for the last, what, 12 races?
There actually is. It's going to be elimination. So it's
it will
going to
be knockout.
So it will be knockout. Absolutely.
So all this is going to do is it's going to help Anthony Burrows, Wade Hustad, Jonathan Schwartz, and as of now, Chad Presnall. It's going to help those 4 guys in well, actually, I mean, it's going to help Thomas Harmon and Hunter Johnson as well. All those guys have bonus points coming into the playoffs. So Hustad will now have 16. And the thing about it, right, is maybe they don't need those wins, right? Because you do see Burrows and Hustad finishing up here towards the front every week, but that does excuse a week during one of those cutoffs, you know? Something bad happens, something crazy happens, a lap car wrecks you out, or you can't make it to a race. Those bonus points can really, really help, but they're only going to help for that first race of the cutoff series, because once we get into that chase, 4 races later, all of a sudden, you know, if you're not in that, or even if you are in that top 4, guess what? Everybody's points are reset yet again. So,
well, and if Wade is able to take this tonight, and again, we have Indianapolis yet too next week, so it's very possible that, I mean, to start out with that lead is so important, and you're going to have that huge gap. Now, after that elimination, do we reset the points? That I'm not sure of. And, of course, guys watching, we will get better understanding. Again, it's...
next week I will for sure. I'll get in touch with the league administrators and make sure I have 100% understanding of how it works. I assume everybody resets to 0, the top 16. Only points drivers are allowed to race here, so you will see the races thinning out. You won't see the likes of... say Ryan Hesgard, who likes to run here consistently. Some of these other guys who don't run for points, yourself, Getty Buckner, you won't be in the races. Some of these other guys who are not regular Cup drivers will not be allowed to participate once those playoffs comes around. So you'll see points-only drivers. And what I really want to know is if we do a reset to 0 points, which I know is going to happen when the playoffs roll around, after we reset to 0 points, do these bonus points apply for the entire set of playoffs? So, say, you know, Anthony Burrows has this 21-point bonus points going into it. Does that still apply in the second round, or does it only apply for the first? And are we going to make everything come down to a final finish at Homestead, or are we not? So,
I will. We'll have to get all that sorted out.
I'm definitely going to catch up on those rules, and we'll give you guys an update at the beginning of next week's broadcast. It will not be a late broadcast next week. I'll be sure to get here on time, make sure everybody's informed, and make sure to give you guys some awesome racing next week.
It's going to be a longer race, actually. It's being sponsored by SGK Racing, so it's going to be 111 laps. It's going to be run on Patriots Day, so it is. I believe it's the Patriot 111.
Not many other better days during the year than Patriots Day, I can tell you that.
Mm-hmm.
I know David Wilborn plays the national anthem before every one of his broadcasts, and I applaud him for doing so. I'm sure a lot of our viewers saw in the news the last couple days about Colin Kaepernick becoming the face of Nike, and I'm not 100% sure how I feel about that yet. You know, there's guys that say that what he did and what he still does to this day was, you know, his rights as an American, which I tend to agree with. On the other hand, it made a lot of people angry, and to refuse to stand for our national anthem and say that it's a stand against police is maybe not the rightest thing to do, but you know, if that's what you feel like you need to do in order to reach out to your audience as a public figure, then, you know, so be it. You know, I don't feel negatively one way or the other, Getty. I don't know how you feel about the whole situation, but, you know, the guy clearly stated after it happened why he did what he did, and that he was trying to, you know, bring this the police brutality and things like that into a public view. And if the guys state that that's why he did it and that it's not a protest against our military or a protest against our government, then why did he need to receive as much flack as he did? You know what I mean? I think we're too quick as Americans to kind of jump against the way people feel, but
Right.
again, everybody has their own
it's,
opinion. Everybody will look at it their own way, and you know, it's unfortunate for the guy. If he was really held out of the league for what happened to him, that whole he just took the NFL to court and everything over it. So
No,
if he was really held out of the
He'll get
league
paid.
because of that whole situation, he's gonna get his money. You know what I mean? So
Yep. No, he's absolutely going to get get some money if any of that can be proven. Looking here, look at this battle for second. I don't know if you're watching it already.
oh,
That is
it's
incredible.
all over the screen and has been for a couple minutes. Caden Honeycutt gets around Anthony Burrows, and Burrows is not able to get it back. These guys are all over the place. Out of every corner, you see the guy, either one or both of them, getting loose coming out of that
Yeah.
corner. But you still see Honeycutt. You know, I was not making fun of, but I was kind of talking about how Caden Honeycutt was diving into that corner so quickly and getting so close to the wall in the apex. I think that's just how he likes to run the track.
Yeah, but we're seeing it there. Burrows is getting that exit off, and you see him just get right up to his bumper. If he can get that, if he can execute this exit perfect, yep, there it is. Oh.
And it's hard for words to explain what happened right there, but that was exactly what Getty was just talking about. Honeycutt pushed it a little too much. Burrows did get the run, and Burrows was just behind Honeycutt as he touched that wall, so Burrows went to the inside. Honeycutt tries to put the block, and Burrows turned him sideways. I mean, that's 100% on Caden Honeycutt there for not getting out of the way. He does come down pit road, and that's going to be the end of Honeycutt's race. Definitely going to lose some positions on that, but I mean, I
think what Honeycutt might be doing is getting some tires in case this thing goes, you know, in case there's a yellow or something. I mean,
he's going to need a yellow at this point, Getty. I mean, he did have damage to the front left, but he did get off with a 14.15, so that is just tires for Caden Honeycutt in the 37. So we'll see. I mean, you know, he's definitely going to be running way faster than anybody else out here. We'll see if he has any retaliation as he comes around the track to try to get around the 62 or Burrows.
Well, as race control, I certainly hope that doesn't happen.
I hope it doesn't happen either.
Oh, and there it is.
Oh, wow. Okay. Okay, so he has what? One lap on his tires. Caden Honeycutt in the number 37 car has one lap on his tires, sits in the 10th position. Eric Johnson, the only other driver that might question staying out here, is we have Wade Hustad in the 32. He has 50 laps on his tires, and that goes all the way back to the eighth position, PJ O'Leary. So Wade Hustad in the 32, the 62 of Anthony Burrows, the 02 of Joseph Helt, the 12 of Mike Springer, Eli Hinton in the 23, John Theodore in the 89, the 98 of Hunter Johnson, and the 80 of PJ O'Leary all have 50 laps on their tires. So you have Eric Johnson, who sits 9th, 16 laps on his tires, and Caden Honeycutt, who could get away with one here, Getty.
I'm not sure.
I don't know, my friend.
He's going to have to take the wave around for sure, which puts him at the... I don't know. It's going to be tough. I mean, we obviously have to see where everyone lines up. Obviously, I expect all the leaders to pit. I will be right back as I will go speak to the drivers.
Actually, guys, all the viewers, as I say this, Eric Johnson is a lap down. Honeycutt is not going to get the lucky dog here. I thought Honeycutt would get the lucky dog and still get an opportunity to come down pit road and get those fresh tires and maybe get a little of that damage fixed up. But Eric Johnson is going to be your lucky dog there in the number 21. So Honeycutt will have to take the wave around. He will be on a couple laps older tires than everybody else is going to be. So we'll see if Honeycutt can fight his way through. We've seen him do it a couple times tonight, but the competition is not easy between him and the leaders.
I mean, he's going to be already at a disadvantage.
Well, and I knew he would be. I just felt as though with Eric Johnson, I thought he was going to get the lucky dog and get to pit, and that wasn't the case. Now he has to take the wave around as Eric Johnson is your lucky dog.
It looks like Burrows... Did Burrows beat him off? I think Anthony Burrows is going to start as our leader here. Wow.
We're going to go back and watch that one more time. Let's go down to the pit exit. Let's see if we
Wow.
can watch these two drivers. Actually, let's reverse just a little bit more. And watch these two guys pull into their pit stalls here. As Hustad there in that first pit stall. Anthony Burrows in the... Oh, that's Joseph Helt. So Anthony Burrows is back there in the fourth pit stall. Looks like Hustad's right front was up in the air for quite some time, and Hustad spins the tires, unable to get the car off pit road in time, and you're very correct.
Anthony Burrows with an incredible launch on exit. Wow.
Yeah, nice lunch, Burrows. Nice lunch.
Yeah. Num num num. This is incredible, and these are the two winningest drivers of the season. So we're gonna watch these guys duke it out. It looks like
I think we're gonna have 9 to go here, or I'm sorry, 7 to go here once we get the restart. We're on 179. We will go to 180. We'll see them double up, and then they'll go live at on lap 181 out of 187. So last 7 laps, you guys will get to watch. Hopefully, all under green flag racing. We are gonna run to a quick commercial here with the Dynasty Racing League, and I hope you'll all join us right back here with the MOLNAR Automotive Cup Series for the DRL MOLNAR Automotive Cup Series Darlington 250. See you back in a couple minutes, fellas. We're back here with the Dynasty Racing League. We are about to take the green flag as pace car pulls off. And Anthony Burrows, for the first time tonight, getting to restart this race in first. Runs away with it nice and early, right out of that corner. As you guys see, not that many cars up here in this front pack. Anthony Burrows is going to have a tough time holding off the 32 of Hustad, as he has been fast all night long.
Yeah, and in the back of the... Oh, sorry.
The back of the sorry?
Oh, I was just going to say the back of the pack didn't come together very well, which actually ended up hurting Caden Honeycutt.
Yeah, Honeycutt, I think at this point, as I said, I thought he was going to get that wave around. Almost stands no chance at this point. Even if another caution comes out, that will be the end of our race tonight. So Honeycutt just looking to make up a few positions before this race comes to an end. But back up front here to the 32 of Hustad, this is the only thing to watch at this point. We'll see if Hustad can get up here to the tail end of Burrows and maybe get around him. I don't know. I feel like on these fresh tires, Getty, Burrows might be too good.
I mean, again, catching him, being near him is different than passing him here, especially on these fresh tires. But if you're going to make a pass, now's the time to do it for Wade, because he'll be able to make, he'll be able to dive down in there and it'll actually stick a little bit better. But it seems like Burrows has really got him right now.
He's got to do it on these fresh tires. If there was somebody I would like in this position right now, it would be the 37 of Honeycutt, as he was able to make that dive work really well for him early in these runs. But Hustad has been running that consistent outside line, and I don't know how comfortable he is trying to make a move here on the 62.
And it's funny because these two drivers have a very similar style versus the 37 that, he dives in much deeper. It's going to be very hard to pass when you're basically driving into
same
a mirror.
line as the guy in
front of you. You know what I mean?
It's pretty crazy. 4 laps to go here at Darlington Raceway. it's been a long race. Both of these guys super consistent. Hustad able to take a couple beatings from the 37. Burrows has been patient all night, and he's finally getting his time to shine here, running in first position just in front of Wade Hustad. Oh, my gosh. How close these two cars are. Hustad does get right to the bumper. Question is, when does Hustad want to make the move? I know him and Chad Presnall in the same channel right now, and Presnall has to be rooting for his buddy there in the 32.
Yeah, it's you know, do you back up the corner, try to get him on exit, which actually he looks like he might be trying to attempt here.
He does dip down a little bit to that lower line on the exit of that corner, but it loses him some time as he's unable to keep the car below the 62. So
I'm just trying to see what they do on exit here.
And Hustad pushing the car too much, and Hustad loses some time. That might have been his only opportunity as we take the white flag. Burrows looks like he's going to be able to win this one handily, as Hustad is no longer going to try to push this thing. He's going to just try to stay in front of the 23 there of Eli Hinton, who has worked his way up to third. Mike Springer, so consistent, has maintained fourth. That was just Hustad, just giving the car everything it's got, man.
Incredible racing. I'm seriously shocked. I'll be right back as I talk to the drivers.
And Hustad sends the car sideways, gets down onto that apron. Wade Hustad, the number 32, definitely not a race to forget, as he handled the car amazingly, but we did see a couple of awesome saves by the 62 of Anthony Burrows. See these guys sending the car sideways a little bit here at Darlington. As I said earlier, that less banking down there on the inside of the track. Everybody having a little bit of fun with it. And Anthony Burrows slides across the start-finish line. He is your winner for tonight. That is his 8th victory here with the Dynasty Racing League in the MOLNAR Automotive Cup Series. Anthony Burrows, ladies and gentlemen. Stellar race from him. We're going to go down and look at the unofficial results. See where everybody ended up. There is Anthony Burrows in first position. Like I said, Wade Hustad, after leading 166 laps, just comes up a little bit short there in second. Third place goes to Eli Hinton there in the number 23. You know, coming on strong with that number 23 number. That used to be my car here in the Cup Series until I stopped running it. So good work on Eli Hinton's part, able to pull out third place. Fourth place goes to Mike Springer, consistent all night, able to come away with that fourth place finish. John Theodore in fifth in the number 89. Joseph Helt, who looked great all night, just a few mistakes by Helt there, ends up coming in sixth. Seventh goes to Eric Johnson. Eighth goes to PJ O'Leary.
Yeah, what an incredible race.
Yeah, Hunter Johnson finishes in ninth. 10 goes to Caden Honeycutt. I'll let you do the next 10, Getty, as I talk to a couple of our drivers.
All right. Sorry, I did not have that pulled up. John Mullins, Chris James. We have Niederhelm Musil and Martin Wenzel, 15th. And below, these are guys that had a little bit of less luck here. From 16th back, we have Harmon, Aaron James, David Wellborn with a top 20, Chad Presnall with an early disconnect, Stouffer, who had a great run early, ends up having that severe damage, and he rounds out the top 20. David Wright, Steven Sims, Spencer Tart, Mitchell Briggs, who made an appearance, Joshua Wakefield, Alexander Russell, Alec Martinez, and the other two schmucks. We actually weren't in the race. Where are we, Ryan? Great racing by everybody here.
No, we were definitely not participating in this one. I accidentally joined again as a driver rather than a spectator. That was my fault on that end of things. I'm just trying to get a couple things together here, guys. Want to get a couple driver interviews from guys that I wanted to really talk to tonight rather than just interviewing the same top 5 that we do every week. So give us just a minute and we will go straight to that. Getty, I don't know if you have anything else for our viewers in the meantime. I'll pull up next week's current event or next week's event information if you want to maybe go into that a little bit.
Yeah, sure. Next week we will be racing at Indianapolis Motor Speedway for 111 laps, sponsored by one of the drivers here for SGK Racing. Sponsoring the Patriot 111. It'll be run on Patriots Day in memory of 9/11, in memory of everyone who was fallen on that day, which is the significance of the 11. And Indianapolis is one of those races where, when you go there with a stock car, it's just the difference between running a successful race and destroying the wall is just a millisecond of getting in the throttle too early or too late. That is going to be an incredible race, and it's going to be kind of an endurance race, as that's one of the closer races to a full length race that we get. We don't often put that many miles here in this league, so that'll be great to watch.
Yeah, it's going to be an excellent race to watch. I can't wait until next week. That's the SGK Racing Patriot 111 here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway on DRL TV. That'll be the MOLNAR Automotive Cup Series right back here next Tuesday night. That's me and Martin Wenzel, my normal co-broadcaster. Oh, excuse me. After competing in this race tonight, he wasn't able to make it, but he will be back here with me next week. Unfortunately, Getty, we'll have to kick you to the side, man. You won't be able to make it.
Well, because I am SGK Racing, I will actually be out there racing at Indianapolis. I'm very excited for that opportunity to go out there and put some laps down.
Awesome, my friend. We definitely can't wait to see it, guys. We have I have a couple special interviews coming to you guys tonight. Hopefully, you know, the thing with these interviews at the end of every race is getting enough guys to stick around, or you know, we don't know whether just to interview the top 5, maybe show you some other faces of the league, because I'm sure everyone's getting tired of. And listen, some guys interview really, really well, some guys don't, et cetera, et cetera. But everyone can't be satisfied with Anthony Burrows talking about how great the race was every week, and Wade Hustad accepting his trophy every week. You know, week in and week out, we see the same guys in this top 5, and it'll be nice just to chat with a couple of other guys from the race and see how they thought the race went as the night went on. So we're going to start things off, however, with our race winner. That is Anthony Burrows. As you guys know, he started in the 7th position. He ended up finishing in 1st. We're going to go ahead and bring in Burrows right now and see how he feels about coming away with that win after just hanging around all night. It was awesome to watch. Anthony Burrows, you got a copy, my friend?
Yeah, I get you.
Hey, man, I've just told everybody, you hung around all night. Somewhere between 5th and, 6th, 5th, 4th, etc. You kept getting amazing runs on pit road. How did you do it, man?
I don't really know, to be honest. I usually don't have the best luck down pit road, but yeah, that last pit stop was definitely what won me the race. I really had nothing for Wade, especially on the short run, and with my damage, I was a little bit slower because of that. But yeah, I really don't know what got me those lucky pit stops, but they definitely came at the right time for sure.
Well, no offense, we felt it was the same way there at the end. Hustad, I don't think there was anything for him if he was out there running in clean air, but impossible to pass here at Darlington, especially with 2 equally talented racers. Caden Honeycutt, it felt like you kept getting around him on pit road due to the pit stall. How do you feel your qualifying lap went there? Are you satisfied with the pit stall you had tonight?
I think it was all right. I mean, I didn't really notice too much of a difference in from where I've pitted in previous races here, but yeah, I was fine with 6th. Yeah, just kind of hung around there the whole race and just got lucky in the end.
Yeah, I just felt like maybe some of you front guys there, and as far as pit stall was concerned, you were able to speed in that last segment and get away with it, whereas Caden Honeycutt started so far in the rear of the field, he couldn't do any of that speeding. But congratulations on another first-place finish. That's number 8 on the season for you, Anthony. I can't wait to watch you in the playoffs, man. It was an absolute pleasure to watch this evening. And I think if we can get a clip of it, I'm sure Martin will have a clip of it. Somebody's going to have a clip of it. That save you had mid-race where you were about a frog's leg from the inside wall was the craziest thing I think I've ever watched in iRacing. And you didn't do it just once tonight. You did it on multiple occasions. Awesome, dude! It's really fun to watch you drive that car, man.
Yeah, I don't. I really don't know how I saved that one, to be honest. I thought I was done after I smacked the wall, but
you're not the only one.
I just kind of got lucky after that with the save.
Dude, I talked to the guys earlier. Snapping the wheel to the right and then back to the left at the exact perfect moment is what it takes. And sometimes you have to do it multiple times in one crash. And then a lot of the more inexperienced drivers will get back into the gas a little too early and spin themselves out a second time. How are you able to avoid that every time? Does it just come from practice, or?
I kind of practice drifting the car a little bit and just being able to hang on to it if I get hooked or whatever. So. I've never practiced that before, but I've definitely practiced getting sideways and all that before.
Very nice, sir. One thing I haven't asked in the past, I know you finish here first every week, and this interview's running a little long. What do you use as far as equipment's concerned? Can you run through with me just brand name of the wheel, what pedals you use, whether you use virtual reality or 3 monitors or 1 monitor?
I got a Logitech G920 wheel, pedals, and I got the shifter for it too. And I have 3 monitors. That's pretty much it.
I think at this point, with how much practice you put in, you could probably just drive with your eyes closed, right?
I don't know about
He doesn't
that,
need 3 monitors. He just needs a blindfold and some feeling. That's all he needs.
Yeah, that's right.
Anthony,
Wish his way through that.
are those load cell pedals or just your typical travel pedals that most guys are running with?
I'm not completely sure. I just got them with the G920, so
all right, so they're the ones that came with the G920. Yeah, so just for all of our viewers out there, they do make a load cell kit, which makes so the thing in iRacing, and the thing that some people have issues with as far as the equipment is concerned, is the pedal, or how much you brake, is based on how far the pedal travels. So you have to make muscle memory and figure out, and muscle memory with your foot is nothing like muscle memory with your hand. The reason you know how much to brake in your car when you drive every day is because of pressure that's pushing back against your foot. Well, a pedal that comes with 90% of wheels out there nothing pushes back against your foot. There's no spring there that pushes against you. There's nothing that makes the pedal harder to press the further it's depressed. So you have to just get used to how far to push your foot, and it's a lot easier to do fine movements with your hand than it is with your feet. So I don't know if you got your brake pedal mounted up on the desk and you're using it with your hand or not, Anthony, but you're great at it, man. And I can't believe you do what you do every week without a load cell. It's really impressive. Congratulations, by the way. I saw your race last week. You competed in the new iRacing series there. What is that, for 16 and under or 15 and under or something like that?
It's like 13 through 16, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, so the younger guys who were just coming up, able to maybe get their foot into a real race car at one of these points. I know you made the feature race. You didn't things didn't go as well, no fault of your own, as they should have there in that feature race. But congratulations on that, man, and congratulations on your win tonight. And we'll see you back again next week. And I can't wait to watch you compete for a championship here this year.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me. It was a lot of fun tonight. You
want to give a shout out to anyone?
Yeah, definitely shout out to Wade and Caden. We got into it a few times, but that's just good hard racing, especially here. Shout out to you guys for putting on the broadcast as always, and James and everyone for putting on this whole event.
Awesome, Anthony. Have a great night, man.
Yeah,
race control.
Getty over here begging for a shout out. Have a wonderful night, Anthony.
Thank you.
Well, now we're going to go ahead and bring in Wade Hustad. That interview definitely ran a little bit long, but I want to get some insight, Getty, as to what these guys are really running with every week, and how it is that they're as good as they are. Sometimes I feel like I'm at a disadvantage based on my equipment, and that just goes to show you. I mean,
Nope.
if I've heard exactly, nope. Like, I'm running only 1 monitor, right? But I've talked to so many people about the whole virtual reality thing and how much better it is than even 3 monitors. And they say a step up from 1 monitor to 3 really isn't a huge difference. A lot of the guys will tell you the number 1 upgrade to make is those load cell pedals. If you're going to drop $500, don't drop it on virtual reality. Drop it on, some load cell pedals. So I really want to get some insight on how these guys do. And when it comes to Burrows, obviously it's just raw talent.
Yeah, no, it's incredible to think that he's, racing under, 16 too. So he's still got miles to go.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. And I hope to watch him advance in that other series as well. He can actually get into a race car based off of that series. So we're going to go down now and talk to our second place finisher, Wade Hustad. Mr. Hustad, do you have a copy, sir?
I do, Ryan.
Hey, another second place finish. Definitely should have been a first place finish tonight after leading 166 laps. You got beat off pit road there. Walk me through that last pit stop.
I don't know what to say there. I mean, we had our pit stop pretty solid, and I reduced the fuel that was going in the car. Pretty much did everything I could to shave off some of those fractions of a second coming off. But he kind of snuck up on us, got off pit road, and we really had to dig from there, and we gave the best shot we could. I mean, there's really not much you can do with 5 to 10 laps to go.
Well, digging to say the least. I thought that car was going to snap around on you more than once. Tapped early in the race tonight by Caden Honeycutt. He was definitely good. I said it in the last couple laps of the race. If there was one guy I wanted to see racing for that, in the second position for the lead at the end, it would have been him, because he was good at diving into the corner. I felt like you were very, very comfortable in your line. Were you, had you really practiced getting the pass on people throughout the week, or?
I didn't really do any practicing at all, let alone the race line. There really wasn't much to do. This track's kind of line sensitive as far as it goes, but this cup car it's quite weird, with the temperatures that we had tonight. It was tight, then it would snap loose on you. It was just the contact between those tires and the pavement that was really dictating how that car was going to handle. So, Caden was pretty damn aggressive. I mean, he really was pushing it towards the beginning part of those runs. But I knew we were going to get longer stretches of 40, 50 laps. And as those tires wear, that right front goes pretty quick. You really don't want to push it too hard. And at that point in time when Caden was sneaking up on me, I was only going really as fast as I had to. And I could see his approach getting into 3 was a little bit lower than what I was doing. But I felt like I was probably saving my right side tires a little bit better. But really what I wanted to do is not race that hard and save my stuff for the long run, kind of like what Anthony does here to us, week in, week out. But other than that, we did the best we could tonight. We led a handful of laps. Just didn't go our way tonight as far as those yellows. Last night it did, tonight it didn't, and we'll take what we got and head into the playoffs and see where we can go from there.
Well, a first last night, a second tonight, coming up on Indy next week. Feeling pretty good about Indianapolis.
I have not turned a lap there in the cup car, but we'll be racing the trucks tomorrow night at Darlington. This track's pretty fun, so hopefully we can have a little bit better luck. But I don't know if Indy's the first race of the championship. That's what I think some of the guys were saying. I'm not sure if that's true or not.
I think it's the last race of the regular season, if okay. I'm not mistaken. But
correct.
Regardless, you're already into the playoffs. That's for sure. So
yeah,
congratulations again tonight. I know you put in a ton of practice week in and week out. Unfortunate to see Presnall, the mistakes he made. I know he was cheering you on towards the end of that race. So congratulations again. You want to shout out anybody tonight?
Yeah, I just want to thank my boy Chad for hanging in there, racing week in, week out, practicing, seeing where we can get on and make some improvements. Just wanted to also thank S2R. We've been working with those. I guess we're kind of an affiliate of them. But, Ryan Hesgard wanted me to say something funny, so thought I would just say something funny, take care of his business. But overall, you guys in the broadcast booth and everybody that puts all this work into DRL, it's a great and amazing league to be a part of.
Getty Buckner over here. He's just trying to get everybody he's trying to get everybody to say, "Oh, thanks to Race Control for being the best." Blah blah blah.
For being so cool.
Yeah, we want to see you get a little bit more aggressive. We need a dictator in this league.
There you go, Getty.
Done.
All right, Wade. Well,
done.
Thanks again, Wade. We'll see you again next week, I'm sure, and can't wait to watch you in the playoffs, man.
Sounds good, guys. Thanks a lot. Have a good night.
Yeah, you too. Now we're going to grab Eli Hinton. I don't know if we've had an interview with Hinton before or not.
We would have at Pocono when he finished in third. Otherwise, I'm not exactly sure.
Eli Hinton. Where is he? Still here. Oh, there he is. We're going to move.
Hint.
Eli Hinton, you got a copy, sir?
Yeah, I got you.
Hey, third place finish tonight. You hung around there all evening. I don't know if you had anything for those top few guys or whatever, but you started in 11th. You stayed consistent all night long, and you come away with third place finish, man. How's it feel?
Oh, it feels great, man. I just want to thank Alec Martinez. I mean, he didn't get to start the race because he had some computer issues, but he was hanging out with me in Discord and keeping me calm and stuff through the race.
Yeah, you seem very consistent tonight. You were comfortable running that top line here at Darlington that everybody struggles with, just staying out of the wall. And thanks to Caden Honeycutt maybe making a mistake or two here and there, you come away with third place, man. Congratulations on that. I think I don't know where exactly you stand in the point standings last night. Might have started a little too late in the season to make the playoffs. But
I have no chance.
Yeah, you got to come back and join us again next year?
Oh, definitely coming back next year. Hopefully I can run for the playoffs or whatever next year. But yeah, planning on coming back.
Awesome, man. Well, congrats again on 3rd place. Anybody else you want to shout out besides your buddy Martinez?
Everybody in the Twitch chat right now.
All right, man. Have a wonderful night, and we will hopefully we'll interview you again next week.
Yeah, hopefully. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Yeah, have a good one. Get it? You're not gonna get it, man.
It's just not gonna happen. That's the guy I give up.
Nobody says, "Oh, thank you to Race Control for punishing everyone else and not me."
I know.
I don't think that's coming. We gotta go grab Mike Springer and bring him in here. Let's see here, Mike Springer. You got a copy, buddy?
Yeah, I do. Actually, interview Joe. He wants to go to bed. I don't have to.
Oh, Joe Helt's trying to go to bed. Well, in that case, I'll grab him real quick. Hang on a second.
Yeah.
You can just hang around. Just stay quiet.
Yeah. I was talking to him. Yeah, cool.
Joseph Helt, you got a copy, bud?
Yeah, I got you.
Hey, I know. Thanks to Mike Springer, he said you're about ready to go to sleep. I just wanted to get a quick chat with you after tonight's race. I mean, we see it every week. I was talking to Getty about it during the race. You're running that top, you're second, third, fourth. Sometimes you're running in first, and it's always just these small little mental errors just rubbing the wall. You never get in big wrecks. You never make stupid mistakes. It's just these tiny little things that bite you every week. Is it a lack of practice, or you just maybe, I don't know, is the car just getting away from you when you least expect it? What's going on?
Probably don't run enough laps, but I don't know, just not consistent enough, really. So probably mental, I don't know, driver error, just not finishing the race off.
Yeah, again, it's little stuff. So that's why I don't know if it's like, do you pay maybe too much attention to the rear view and let other guys get you nervous, or is it literally just maybe you didn't turn enough laps, or you're just too young in your iRacing career to really make it happen every week?
I don't know, just. I guess need to keep working and get better. I guess there's, it's not really like a nerves deal. Just need to close the deal.
Awesome. Well, again, not that I'm putting you down by any means, because you come out and impress every single week, and you seem like you're out there running for wins, and you always qualify well. And the first 50 laps of every single race, we're talking about help, and then come the end of the race, it seems like we're always saying, oh, little mental error, you touched the wall there, you touched the wall here, just minor stuff, man. You're so close, you're right there on the cusp, and I can't wait to see what you can do as this season progresses and as we move into next year, man.
Yeah, hey, thanks, appreciate it. Keep working hard.
Well, keep it up, and we'll see you back next week, and hopefully you still come out and compete in these playoffs. I don't know if you got into the season early enough to really make a run.
No, I don't think so. I think it was a couple races late, but I'll still be around.
Yeah, he can run in the playoffs. He just won't be competing in the playoffs.
Yep. All right. Well, have a wonderful night, man. Congratulations this evening. I wish it went a little bit better than it did, but you come away with a 6. Nothing to be ashamed of. That's for sure.
Yeah. Thanks. Hey, thanks, guys. Thanks for what you do. Appreciate it.
All right, buddy. Have a good night.
Thanks. You too.
And that was Joseph Helt. He ended up coming in 6th this evening. Now we will talk to Mike Springer. Springer, how do you feel about 4th tonight? I know you were super consistent. You started in 6th, you finished in 4th. You were somewhere between 6th and 3rd all night long.
Yeah, it was a good race. I made one mistake on pit road by speeding when I was in that train of cars. I don't know. I got up to 47 and they got me. So after that, I had to fight through the field to get back up there, and I kind of was in a little bit of a panic, so I overdrove the car, hit the wall a few times, and it didn't handle the same, but it was still fast.
Yeah, the aero damage doesn't hurt you nearly as much here at Darlington as it does some of the other tracks. But favorite throwback scheme of mine for the week, man. I love the Jeff Gordon scheme.
Oh man, a lot of good memories on Sundays watching that car do its thing. So yeah, I just brought it back to see if get a Darlington win with it.
Hey, it looks good, man. It's not the number 24, but it's half the number 24. I still like it.
You know what? There was a lot of Miller Lite schemes in front of me, and that bumper usually just knocks that car out of the way. So I'm just happy I didn't do that tonight with all 3 of those cars in front of me.
That's hilarious, man. Well, again, congrats on your 4th place finish. You want to shout out anybody tonight?
I'll say hi to my dad and all the other racers and you guys. You guys do an awesome job. It's so much fun watching these, and yeah, just Dynasty Racing is an awesome league. And anybody wants to join us for next year, start thinking about it.
I can't wait to see you back for the playoffs, man. Have a good night.
All right, thanks, guys.
And that is Mike Springer. He is our 4th place finisher for this evening. I'm sure he's tired of waiting, but John Theodore, we're going to go down and grab Mr. Theodore and pull him in here. I'm sure he's got a whole stream full of people who are like, oh, how long is this going to take before you jump in another race? Mr. Theodore, you got a copy?
Yeah, 10-4, I got a copy.
Yeah, I'm sure you're...
Doing?
Yeah, we're doing wonderful. I'm sure you're tired of waiting on us. I know you got a whole slew of guys out there watching you on Twitch or YouTube or wherever you happen to be streaming right now. I get to see these on your YouTube channel, you know, a couple days after or whatever, you know, after the race is over. But we talked about you tonight. You came away with a 5th place finish. That was your highest position of the race, but you're so consistent, man. You always seem to be running right up there and, you know, somewhere between 5th and 10th, and you're satisfied with it, which is just, you don't overdrive the car to try to make up positions, and it's a pleasure to watch, man.
Yeah, there's no sense in wrecking it. Before we start, how about that race control tonight? Did Getty do an awesome job or what?
Yes, John gets it. He gets it.
I've been listening to you guys, so, you know. Also got to give a big shout out to Nathan Jurgensen. He was spotting for me tonight and helped me a lot. I was really struggling with Darlington. Earlier last week, I did a terrible race in NIS on Sunday, and so pulled Nathan in. He helped me out, got me a 3rd and 8th fixed yesterday, and then coached me to a 5th tonight. So Nathan just did an awesome job spotting for me. Definitely helps to, you know, keep me calm when I start panicking and freaking out. It's kind of nice to have someone else there who kind of like you can bounce ideas off, and he can offload some of the strategy decisions so that I can focus on driving. So it really helped a lot.
You know, speaking of your 5th place finish this evening, I know that you know, 5-6 races ago you weren't even sure if you were going to make it into the playoffs here, and now you currently sit in 12th. Eric Wolf did not race this evening, so you will jump ahead of him into at least 11th. I think you'll jump ahead of Dustin Musial and Chris James as well. So you might be sitting 9th currently in the point standings here in the Dynasty Racing League. Did you envision actually, you know, how long ago did you really think you could make a run here into these playoffs deep into the season?
So, you know, I missed the first, 3-4 races. So I knew that it was going to be tough. But once I started seeing that I was clicking off top 10s really well, I knew that I would have a chance at it. I had that really bad race at Pocono, though, and I thought that that was the first Pocono race. I thought I was cooked at that point. But, yeah, I've had some really good runs lately, so I'm feeling pretty good. I'm really looking forward to doing the playoffs alongside the Cup guys. That's going to be fun.
Yeah, again, it's all consistency that saved you, man. You know, those top 10 finishes every week, you don't have to shoot for first, but to come to the playoffs, you are going to have to start shooting for first. You think you got something for these guys on the last few tracks of the year?
I mean, I'm going to try. I know that I really like Homestead a lot, so if I can get it there, it's going to be a heads-up deal. You know, the big thing that's changed especially recently is after the campaign wound down, Corey, I've had a little bit more time to invest into practicing, and I've also shifted it so that I'm really prioritizing practicing and preparing for the league races more, and kind of put the official races onto the back burner. So yeah, going into the playoffs, you know, it used to be that, you know, other than running the, you know, A fixed and NIS fixed and stuff like that, that was the only practice. Getting dedicated practice time now, I think that I'm still obviously behind a little bit on top end speed, but I hope that I can give Anthony and Wade and those other guys run up front and run for their money.
I know you race in a couple other series throughout the week. I do watch quite a bit of your YouTube channel. I know you race in other series and things like that. I hope, you know, and I wish you would just run nothing but Cup cars for the last 12 weeks of the year, because I want to see you come out here and compete for victories. And right now, the way it's looking, Burrows and Hustad are going to be tough to compete with. So I hope to see you doing very well, put in all the practice it requires, and I think you've somewhat solidified yourself into these playoffs at this point. So I can't wait to watch how it develops throughout the rest of the season, man, and I hope we see you again next year.
Yeah, 10-4. Appreciate that. Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. Let's see, shout outs to Warren, the one Brit, and Jeff Price tonight. They're top 3 on the bit leaderboard on the channel. Shout out to Eli Hinton as well. He started streaming. He got 11 new followers tonight, which is awesome.
Yeah, I saw that. I think Eli is one of those guys who tunes into your stream regularly, huh?
Yeah, he's been watching my stream for a while, and so sounds like it inspired him to get going on. What I've been doing kind of like ever since I started this channel a year ago, and the only thing that I was doing was I was like, it'd be kind of cool when I'm doing this iRacing stuff to just make a video archive of all of that. So I ran for like 3-4 months. I had like 3 viewers. Watched a video by Ty Baca, Hey Shady Lady, on YouTube where she talked about, talking to yourself and running a, just basically like giving voice to your inner monologue. That really locked in, and that's when my viewership started going up. And then it's just kind of exploded from there. But, giving a shout out to Eli and stuff like that, like I'm always looking for ways to kind of pay it forward and help give the next guy up a boost.
Which is awesome, man. We all got to help each other as a community. I talked to some of these guys when we got DRL TV started about, iRacing isn't one of those games where you're going to have 1 million subscribers. It's just not, it's not popular enough. However, it wouldn't take much to get to the top of what iRacing has to offer, and maybe that's 5, 6, 7, 8, and 10,000 viewers, whatever it is, week in and week out. But I think it's just awesome to bring the first person's perspective to the race, which is what you do every week. It's not the, your standard broadcast like everyone else does. So I enjoy watching you. Congratulations on your viewership. I'm happy for Eli Hinton. I'm glad he's getting into it, and I hope more guys get into it. I just want iRacing to become more popular, and I know there's a lot of race fans out there that would love to, on a Tuesday night or a Wednesday night to come out and watch their favorite iRacing driver rather than, be sitting at home with no NASCAR to be watching or to have to watch a replay of their favorite driver getting wrecked out.
Absolutely. I mean, I've always thought of this channel as a NASCAR channel that happens to be on Twitch rather than a Twitch channel that happens to be about racing. So, that's kind of the way that I approach it. I sort of run my stream maybe a little bit more on the serious end of things, but really proud of the community that I've been building. A little advice to anyone else who's starting to get streaming. Use the streamer, always set the tone for your community. So I always try to keep that in mind. And, I don't cuss on camera or anything else like that. Just try to keep it clean. One other thing, little explanation. I don't know if you guys noticed, I'm running a special scheme tonight instead of the Corey Bush scheme. This is since it's Labor Day weekend, as a throwback to, since I've always run these political cars, this is this paint scheme is based on Eugene Debs, who was a hero of the labor movement. He's credited with Weekends, the 40-hour work week, among other things. So he actually served 6 months in prison for his participation in protests during the labor movement. And when he ran for president in 1920, it's one of the most famous presidential pins in U.S. history. It's Convict 9653. That's his number for president. So I did a paint scheme based on that for Throwback Weekend here.
Well, the car looks good, that's for sure. It's nice to see, nothing against Corey Bush, but it's nice to see you in something other than the purple car, even though you still got the purple number down there, sporting that good. Congrats again, man, on 5th place. I know this is running a little bit long, but actually, did you finish 5th? Now that
I did finish 5th. That's why I wouldn't have hung around if I wasn't in interview position.
I don't know what was my standings messed up, and it was showing you in 10th there for a second. That might be because so many people left the server already. But again, congrats on the 5th place finish, and we can't wait to see you in the playoffs, man. Have a wonderful night.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. You too.
That was John Theodore. I did say, this is running a little bit long. I appreciate all our viewers sticking with us. Thank you guys so much for tuning in every single week, and hanging in there with us and watching all that iRacing has to offer and the Dynasty Racing League has to offer. I want to pull in Chad Presnall and get a quick chat with him if I could. Chad Presnall, you got a copy, man?
Yeah, I got you, bud.
I know the interviews have run a little long tonight. You're doing so well early. You gained so much. I talked to you midway through that race, and uh, I don't know what went wrong. I know you said you rubbed the wall a couple times in that mid race interview, but in the very first pit stop, what happened there? You sped down pit road?
Yeah, I sped on exit. I just lost mental focus for just a split second and blipped it, and it gave me the EOL, and that just kind of set the tone for the night. And I couldn't get out of my own way after that.
Yeah, definitely a terrible way to go out. So no other speeding penalties throughout the night. Just kept touching the wall. Maybe mental mistake here and there.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. The last one, I slid the box and lost like 4 positions, and I seen there was only 2 more guys behind me, so I decided to come back in and get the final repairs made. So I could dig for that last little stretch and end up making some contact with one of them fellas out there, and pretty much just did me in for the night.
Well, I wish you would have had a better finish. I know we're going to be seeing you, in the future. That's for sure. You're sitting 4th in the point standings right now. I got 6 bonus points heading into these playoffs, unless you can come out and steal a win next week. But yeah, I just wanted to get a brief chat with you and see how you felt about the race tonight, and see if it was all pit road issues, or if maybe you just weren't comfortable in the car or what happened, because you looked great early in this race.
Yeah, it was unfortunate, and me and Wade were just talking at the time, when that caution come out with me and him was running 1-2, and I certainly had a little bit more left in it, and I was right there with Wade. Granted, knowing him, he was probably saving quite a bit, but I was saving a little bit as well, so I felt good about it at that point. And like I said, as soon as I got that pit road penalty, it just kind of set the tone for the night. Just gotta clean up the mental mistakes and quit doing that, because these things they put you in negative positions, and it's like a disease. Once you start doing it, they're just dominoes. So you gotta keep that cleaned up from the beginning and just be flawless. That's what it takes to win in DRL.
Yes, sir. Best league in iRacing, that's for sure, man. Can't wait to see you back for the playoffs.
Absolutely, bud.
Have a good night, buddy.
Yep, y'all too.
Well, that was Chad Presnall. Again, thought he had a good chance to maybe steal a win from Hustad. Was running strong early. Caden Honeycutt as well, running super strong early. Just weren't able to pull it out towards the end. Hustad so consistent, only gets second after Burrows stealing that from him on pit road. Getty, what'd you think about the race tonight, man?
Well, it was great to see. One thing that's always promising, especially as we head into the playoffs, where each race means so much, is the respect out there. A lot of drivers, a lot of give and take. Seeing that is it's refreshing, because you don't often see it in official races and stuff like that. A lot of thank yous, a lot of hey, go low. A lot of positive communication, which a lot of the viewers won't be able to really see, but I get to hear it as race control and stuff like that. And honestly, it was just a show. There was battles all over the racetrack, battles to be the first car lap down. We saw the top 5 battle. We saw the top 10. The next 5 battle. And it was clean. This is one of the few races where we had only single car incidences. It wasn't 3 or 4 cars getting together, and
minus those top few guys. They got into each other a few times, just never caused a caution.
That is true, as close to a caution as you can, but and they were doing that all while being still the fastest people on the track. It was just and then the save by Anthony Burrows, which ended up being a race-winning move, as well as the pit stops, which we explained the significance of passing on pit road earlier in the race, kind of foreshadowed the fact that won the race for Anthony Burrows. The excellent race, to see all those little factors play into a race, it works out well.
Well, we will be back again next week, guys. SGK Racing for the Patriot 111 at Indianapolis Motor Speedway on Patriots Day. Cannot wait for that. The next race here at the DRL TV, that's going to be the Darlington 190, still here for the throwback week. That'll be tomorrow night in the Truck Series. 139 laps, 190 miles here at Darlington. Can't wait for that one. That is going to be David Wellborn and Taylor Butcher Benjamin bringing that race to you. I wish I was racing in it. I don't think I got my foreman in time, so I will not be participating in that race, but
Yeah,
we
it will be. Just quick note that will be our regular season finale, and we've got positions up for grabs. So it.
Oh, that is
it'll
the
be-
end of the truck series, and it's going to be
Yeah.
intense. I hope Martin
That's very
Wenzel can
intense.
go out there and do very well. I'm rooting him on after his unfortunate mishap this evening, but thank you again to all of our viewers at home for tuning in tonight. It's been an absolute pleasure. I'm glad you guys got to see this one. Next week will be the last race of this Cup Series, so thank you to James Pandolf and Tater Bowman, the owners of the Dynasty Racing League, Martin Wenzel, and Joe Gonzalez for all the graphics, all the graphic work, everything you guys get to see here on the screen every week. Thank you to David Wellborn and Taylor Butcher Benjamin, our two broadcasters for tomorrow night. I know David is pulling double duty typically. He broadcasts Mondays as well. Getty Buckner, thank you for joining me tonight. Thank you for race controlling. Great job. Myself, again, Martin Wenzel. And then everybody all the way down to Eric Weatherholtz, who is our admin and race control for that Indy series on Thursday nights. You guys don't always get to see that on DRL TV, but that is a part of the Dynasty Racing League. Have a wonderful night. Thank you again to all our viewers for tuning in every week, and we will see you again tomorrow night on DRL TV.